is Armen Sarian. Good morning, young man. How the hell are you today? Oh, hey, let's get Armen tuned up and ready to go. Let's get those pipes sounding nice.
Armen, go to mic one.
Moment.
That mic.
Hey, let's do this producing on the air. Let's get you over to mic one into the studio. Grab that limp microphone. See if that one works.
Check. How's that one?
Now we got it.
Check. There we go. I got to identify an issue.
And all of which we could have been able to do earlier on here today, but we were getting into a hot conversation all the way through the open with somebody in the building here about Wisconsin football, and that's mostly where we're going to be earlier on today. We're going to talk a lot of NFL football. We're going to talk some NBA, some college hoops association. Not really back and forth. It was mostly one-sided.
It was a fourth. It was a fourth conversation.
Yes, it was. I'm going to tell you everything about the thought here, and then you're going to listen and then agree or not, and then it's going to be hot. That's going to be a fun one. That is, I'm talking in text. We had individual earlier this week said, "Man, you guys are always going to get the last laugh or the last word." This is not about the last word. This is about a conversation. This is about a free forum. This is about an open and fun interaction, discussion about our favorite teams, the state of them, the health, sometimes the not so healthy moments. But we talk about it, going to be able to make me look better. That is not what anybody is trying to do here. Even though sometimes Armen Sarian, with his intellect and vocabulary, will run absolute circles around us. Well, and most importantly, me. It is never with an ill intent. That is not what any of this is about. This is about bringing people.
This is the conversation. We invite everybody into it, and we have the conversation. However, the nature of this beast is we are the ones on the mic. So, I mean, unfortunately, I hate to break it to you.
We got to throw it to break. So we will actually have the last word.
It's our job. I mean, just like, the last guy to pull the wrench on your car is the mechanic. You can tell him what you want to do and all these things. 87, the fairness doctrine ended, okay? The FCC abolished the fairness doctrine, all right?
Okay.
So this is not like, no, it doesn't apply to this. Well, I'm just being funny. But, we're trying to give everyone as much time as possible. We want you to text in. We want you to call in, and we're so glad you do. On the NickLayLaw.com talk and text line. We're so glad you get in on the YouTube stream, on the X stream, on Facebook. Open is starting. We start the show.
We got to start the show. We got to have the first word of the next 4 hours into a hot football Friday. And we got the Green Bay Packers taking on the reigning defending Super Bowl champions on Monday. We will have plenty of pregame getting into that game on Monday Night Football because it's the biggest game on the slate, at least in these neck of the woods and frankly around the NFL. Hard to see another one bigger, but we'll talk about the rest of the games on Sunday that you'll be able to watch. The one last night to be able to watch. Armen Sarian called it. He said, I think we are going to get a throwback early days. In old school, somebody is going to get taken out to the woodshed and just obliterated. No, instead what we got was the old school Thursday night. Yes. I can't believe my eyes got to watch this entire thing.
That's what I'm saying, Billy. Something about it just told me this is going to be an absolute drag of a game. I didn't think it was going to be this bad.
That felt like work last night.
10-7 Broncos would cover. I just thought it wouldn't be exciting. But the Broncos won. But, I mean, if you have that minus 500 money line, you were sweating it out a little bit. No, I didn't have that. However, I would have had that. I'd be the person to have that if somebody did. And you're right, Billy. I mean, they survived, I think is the best way to say it last night. They survived because that was, and man, did you see that last
319, worst 8-2 team I've ever seen in my life. They've now won 4 games all in the final minute by a score. Now, one of those wins, everybody would agree, is extremely impressive against the Philadelphia Eagles on the road in Philly.
Sure. Oh, yes.
13-11 against the Jets. Yikes. 33-32, in which they score all of their 33 points in the fourth quarter to beat New York, to beat the Giants. Yikes. Now, they obliterated Dallas, as they should, as most teams did, and most teams would. And then 18-15 against the Texans and a 10-7 game against the Raiders. I mean, that is just a wild finish to have. In a season where listen, I think Sean Payton is a very good football coach, not necessarily my favorite football coach.
No, but he's clearly built up equity in this league. I mean, he's
built up plenty of equity. He's been a very, very good and very competitive in that space.
I always thought some people thought maybe he was better than, or let's put it this way, I always thought he got more flaws compared to McCarthy. Right?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, they come in at the same time. They win as many Super Bowls as each other.
Same as everything, but everyone looked at Sean Payton as kind of boy wonder, boy genius sometimes. And I don't think McCarthy ever got that kind of flowers.
No doubt about it. Yes. Amen. And like, I think he's done a nice job with Bo Nix. Bo Nix looked horrendous last night. It sorts the one into the end zone when they get the turnover inside the whatever it is, 12, 15, the blocked punt. And then he throws the ball to Evan Ingram 7 yards in front, not even to the end zone. He comes over looking, and they're just booing him off the field. I can't read lips very well, but I could have swore he said, I'd boo too. Like, that was terrible. He's like, what was that throw? And he was surprised maybe as well, maybe on television. But that was a horrendous game last night. That was one that did feel like work. That was one where it really would have helped and aided to have Bucks basketball to watch alongside.
Yeah,
that would have been nice to have a second screen viewing pleasure, or Badgers basketball to watch along. Like, that would have been a nice time to have a secondary option instead of just having to get locked in on Prime and wait for another punt.
Yeah, that's true, Billy. And you didn't have that last night. You will have it tonight against the Bulls, and the Badgers are back in action as well against Northern Illinois. But the thing is, Billy, it is instructive. Last night, the importance of getting wins and not necessarily worried about style points. But this time of the year, October, November in the NFL, you want to get wins. And as much as the Broncos have been an uneven 8-2, they are 8-2. And that's all that matters when you start breaking down the playoff picture, Billy. When you talk about standings and playoff picture, is the wins. I mean, have they looked amazing? No. Has any team looked amazing every week? No. But a lot of teams that haven't looked amazing haven't had 8 wins. So I think you have to look at the fact that this is an instructive moment to say, you know what, the Broncos might not have looked great all the way through here, but and as our boy Iowa from team ever, I guess you'd rather be the worst 8-2 team ever than the best 3-win team ever, which is the Cardinals.
The Cardinals would be. Yeah, that's fair. I do like, though, he also said, yes, but they just remind me too much of the 2023 Iowa Hawkeyes carried by their defense. And they did that yesterday without their best defensive player, right? I mean, Pat Surtain is out. Pat Surtain Jr. is out, and that's an issue. But they are they're just right there. And I struggle to see them pulling away in that AFC West. Again, I've been saying that I'm buying Chiefs stock at pretty much every given juncture. 8-2, interesting as well, but they're going to have to be a lot better. And you're right. It shows that it doesn't matter how you get the wins. Sean Payton said before the game to Clarissa Thompson, these Thursday night games, it's all about who plays better early. Okay.
Okay.
Breaking analysis. It really felt groundbreaking.
As a point,
really about who plays well early to establish some positive momentum. So then neither team got that memo until the fourth quarter.
Nobody got it. Nobody did it. I mean, nobody played well early, middle, late. One team got more points than the other one.
Yeah, somebody ultimately did score enough points to win the game, and that was a 10-7 decision by the Broncos last night. Our guy RJ Harvey in the parlay of the day as we laid the 9 with the Denver Broncos. We asked for one Geno Smith interception. Hey, into the plus 575 parlay of the day yesterday. RJ Harvey touchdown would have helped. He's got 5 of the last 4 games. Armen, RJ Harvey yesterday. 4 carries.
He stunk on ice, Billy. He stunk on ice. J.K. Dobbins got all the carries. Actually, J.K. Dobbins was okay. 4-3 carries.
Terrible.
You know what? I'm going to blame myself, though. Because I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to blame myself, Billy.
Because you were going to tell us to go Troy Franklin instead?
I used Troy Franklin as a dart play in fantasy this year. And I'm like, Troy Franklin. But I kept my mouth shut because for two reasons. One, so a lot of times I'm not right, so it's like I keep my mouth shut a lot.
Don't be afraid. Don't run from your nightmares.
No, because I don't want it. I don't want to be the reason we lost. And it is still Billy's parlay of the day. Now I could have thrown that in there, but I probably would have been wrong most of the time. Therefore, what I would have been. Now, obviously, I only mentioned it when I got it right. It's like a classic. It's like a classic. So I saw that, but you know what, Billy? Nobody played well last night. The Broncos pass rush played pretty well last night.
No doubt about it.
I thought they ate up Gino pretty well and things like that. I didn't think Gino was totally cheeks. He did have the pick. Genty didn't do much. You're right. It's one of those games where you're like, where's the running clock? Where is the running clock?
Yes.
Is this Friday night yet? For these because in high school they had the running clock.
It was one where you're just wondering if anybody actually are we going to check the clock out? Anybody actually call them on it?
Also, thank you to the Las Vegas Raiders for letting me know, which I didn't know. Raheem Mostert is still in the league. He's still in the league. He got one carry last night. Boy, you're getting one carry for the Raiders. You're bad. There's no longer Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, it's no longer Mostert for you. That one of fantasy football.
I said that at the draft, at my fantasy draft, every last 4 years. I mean, that was probably
Did you laugh harder than everybody?
Yes.
Joke every time.
Oh yes. They're just Armen, be quiet. Just Armen, make your pick and move on. But
Armen, you've heard it. All right, now to go draft a long snap.
How about the fact that he's still in the league? That's pretty impressive. I didn't realize that.
He's still living on the 2019 NFC title game. 608 Broncos fan checking in here. It's becoming evident Sean Payton's career was elevated by Drew Brees. His play calling last night was atrocious. Much like most of this year, hamstrings the offense and nicks a lot. Okay, so I really want to thank our 8-2, and he says Sean Payton's play calling has been atrocious. Now, it was last night, difficult last night, because it did seem like I saw a couple of different memes of maybe Chauncey Billups Adobe photoshopped into a Sean Payton uniform. That was really creative. You were wondering exactly why they were not allowing Knicks to do anything with aggression. I'm interested to see. I've heard this now report, Armen.
Yeah.
From not only just from every single person talking football is let's see Jordan Love with more opportunity.
Let Jordan cook. How many times have you heard that?
Let's see if the Packers run the ball more than they throw it this week, because that zig. They would definitely zag, and you'll see Josh Jacobs for 25 carries on Monday night. Albeit probably the right recipe to beating this team and having your most effective offensive performance is doing kind of what everybody is asking for.
Yeah.
Throwing the football and doing as much quick game as possible and get the ball out of Jordan Love's hands before those beefeaters up front with Philadelphia.
Play the strategy we think it's going to work, and everyone's saying, well, let Jordan cook. We have to be more aggressive. Well, sometimes the game plan of the defense doesn't give you that look to do that. Sometimes that's not what the defense is giving you. So that's the kind of the dual struggle you're going to have as a play caller inside, right? On one hand, you're going to want your guys to go. I'm like Bo Nix, let Bo Nix cook or let him go a little bit, maybe, but he wasn't playing all that well. So it's hard to get back to the play calling stuff. Well, I don't know, Billy. It seems like anytime an offense doesn't work, people want to blame the play calls. It could be the execution sometimes. That is possible. So the Packers, as we talked about yesterday, Billy, and we'll get into it more today coming up here on Friday, the Packers have their biggest challenge coming up in terms of how the struggles were last week, the criticism of the play calling, what they're letting Jordan do, they're playing too careful, and going up against a defense that doesn't, like you said, Billy, it would be running the ball, would be short passing stuff. So we'll see how the Packers handle it, and we'll see how you can go against it. But it is tough because that's an emotional struggle every play caller has. Mm-hmm. Am I going to play into the hands of the defense, or am I going to do what I think I want to do?
And are we doing enough of what we do, or are we conforming to try to beat them? Right? You see it so many different times. Are you going to play the matchup more, or do what you do, and a lot of the abilities, and letting the chips fall where they may? But at some point, maybe your best game is what the defense is ultimately going to be giving you. And we'll see if the Packers are able to take some more of that coming up on Monday night when the world champion Eagles come to town. More on the rest of the NFL throughout. We'll talk some Badgers football.
A lot of conversation about that.
A lot of conversation in the break room about it. Montage to Pete Thamel for 2026. Chris McIntosh made statements. He also spoke to Jesse Temple. We're going to play that audio for you and open up the conversation to you at 877-794-1973. Because that's what we like to do here. We like to have some fun. We like to open it up. We like to open up the door to our friend Scott Dolphin, who strolls on through here on the other side from FM 106, where you do it at 877-794-1973 on the NickLayLaw.com talk and text line. Working through some difficulties on the YouTube. We're gonna do our 111. We're gonna continue to fight through it. Just know that we are hearing the frustrations, that we are going to do everything we can to rectify the problem. It's no BS. That's Armen Sorry, and I'm Billy Schmidt right here on the game.
Want to watch No BS?
We'll do anything it takes.
They're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X right now.
We have a place for it.
Just search 97.3 The Game.
Welcome, Steve Post, to the program. Not everybody can say they ran in a sausage race.
The Padres were playing the Brewers, and I was following the Padres around the country. Then I got to know those guys really well, so I remember I followed them up to Milwaukee, and the manager was Bruce Bochy. I had the wildest time with the Padres about a week before that in Miami, and I threw Bruce Bochy's mini bar out of his $7 of damage. So Bruce Bochy sees me, and he says, "Poltzy, you owe me $467 for a mini bar, and we had a meeting. You're not allowed to stay in the same hotels as us anymore." The traveling secretary banned me from staying in the same hotels.
That's awesome.
So I was in Milwaukee, and that day, Bochy says to me, "Why don't you come down and sing to the players at the dugout?" So I sang this song called 98 Pounder. And then he said, "Why don't you go out in the field and shag fly balls while Tony Gwynn takes batting practice?" So this was like Ferris Bueller's Day Off for me. I went out, and I'm sitting there, and these security guards come up to me. They go, "Are you Steve Poltz?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "Oh, they want you to come sit by Jerry Coleman." Well, he calls the game, and Jerry Coleman was the voice of the Padres.
Legend.
Jerry Coleman, legendary guy, managed the Padres a little bit, and then became the voice of the Padres. So they let me sit by Jerry Coleman. Well, he calls the game.
Oh, that's so cool.
I did that, and then Jerry Coleman was laughing. I had him smiling. He goes, "Hey, how would you like to sit next to the Uke next inning?" So he brings me in, and I get to sit by. And then a security guard comes back up, and he goes, "Hey, they want you to run the sausage races in the 7th inning." And I go, "Are you kidding me?"
What a day.
And so this truly was amazing. And Poltz becomes Polish sausage. I go out there, and out of 5 sausages, I took 5.
Drew and KB are talking sports and stuff every weekday from 2 to 6. Right here on the
Sum up the show for you with one word. Nothing. Nothing? Nothing. What does that mean? What did you do today? I got up and came to work. There's a show. That's a show. How is that a show? Well, maybe something happens to you on the way to work. No. Well, why am I watching it? Because it's on TV. Not yet.
Saving energy saves you money. Whether you switch to Energy Star light bulbs, install Energy Star windows, or add extra insulation. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
I'm Doug Russell, and this is Tales from 1265, an insider's look at football's most storied franchise, a franchise that has had its dynasties.
This is the first Super Bowl trophy
and its rebirths.
Every major football decision will be made by Ron Wolf.
Tales from 1265 is presented by Nicolay Law, your local award-winning injury lawyers, and can be heard on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Discuss how change is inevitable.
Many things happen to me. One thing that's been most constant about all of it has been change. Nothing's been the same. Nothing's stayed the same. And whether it be working with the same people or not, I mean, because most of the guys that work with me have been with me the whole time. And that includes even the people that work in technical, in the studio and everything. But nothing stays the same. And, anyone that expects it to is mad and needs to get their head checked, because it's not, even if you try to keep things the same, it never will.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Bryan Adams and all your favorite artists.
You may not play for your favorite team, but you act like it. With jersey, but the mindset as you crack open that ice cold beer. Cheesehead TV and Gathering Place Brewing bring you Carry the G, a delicious and easy drinking cream ale. But it's not just for tailgating, it's for everyday life. Baby, so creamy and cold. Land of the green and gold. Available throughout Wisconsin. 21 plus. Drink responsibly.
Message marked urgent. Slide at 1-877-794-1973.
Joins us in studio, FM 106.1. Morning, Dolph. How we feeling?
What up, Dolph?
Happy Friday.
We're fired up that we can hear you, because we've been fighting some demons here earlier this morning.
You know what? That's weird you say that, because our sister station, WISN, has all kinds of gremlins in their system this morning, too.
Okay. I'm going to say this in a real weird way, but at least it makes, maybe it's not up.
But I'm still going to make some call to engineering and wake them up.
Let's go.
Be nice to him. He's been up late working on our news talk station.
Oh, well, then, you know what?
Maybe was he in here messing with something by chance?
Maybe.
Great. Can't wait to have that conversation.
Maybe we should pivot that plan. Not here. All right. I'm like, sorry, Bill. You good?
No, I'm good. I'm excited for you to tell Dolph, the radio veteran of our building, and somebody that we both look up to and idolize in this business, for what happened during the first segment.
Listen, this is bad omen, because I'm moving this weekend. Billy's obviously a homeowner, and he's dealing with some stuff yesterday. Now, that's a bad omen, because this little doohickey here's the plug where you plug in the mic. That was unplugged. Now, if I can't figure that thing, all right, so I don't know what something's gonna happen this weekend where I'm gonna have to fix something, and I should be able to do that, right?
Scotty's yelling into the microphone. I don't know.
Somebody sabotage you?
It was unplugged. And now the tough thing was, and as he mentioned, I'm crawling up under this desk thinking like I was going to do absolutely anything.
Oh, yeah. Looking like we knew what we were doing.
Hey, let me see where that wire's going.
Yeah.
What happened? I got right up underneath.
Checking on stuff, so.
We have a well water at the house, and our well pump, from what I believe the conversation was, the bladder popped and that filled up with water. So we had to get a new pump. Had potentially the shutoff valve very, very close to catching fire.
God.
Yeah, it was your wife decides that you call somebody.
Oh,
that appears to be bad. Now I'll show YouTube and the stream, and they can't hear anything at the moment, but they can see that. You know, and something's not right there. That was not supposed to look as dark and burnt as it was.
That's pretty nasty looking. I've never had well water. When I was a little kid, my grandparents had kind of a semi-farm out on the edge of town, and I remember it was cool that you could go into their front yard with a bucket and you could
fish. It would just be so much more fun. No, instead we have this standing thing that then also my man Russell was a phenomenal cat. He did it. Also one of the coolest mustaches I've ever seen yesterday.
Oh.
He had that thing dripping down, Armen, and curled. Not all the way tucked up. And he goes, I got to be honest with you, man. He was really stressed. I think we should do a couple of tests because I've never smelled something like that before.
Oh my gosh.
Like, oh, Russell, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good.
I don't know about
so
you
we got a
guys.
little whole potential. Is a heck of a Thursday.
What is it about stuff with the house or the car that every time you get checked out, my 35 years, I've never seen anything like this.
Never seen
I've never
anything.
seen anything like this. Oh, you've never seen anything like this? I don't know why. I mean, I've never seen anything like now. You know, you could leave it as is.
yeah, you're in your bedroom, then you're in your basement.
And
I
let's
don't
be
know what
honest,
happened.
it's the same with car. Like, I don't know. This is why I love our listeners, right? Because we got all kinds of blue collar listeners out there. We got guys that know about plumbing, about cars, about everything, right? And then we get a lot of help from our listeners. We crowdsource a lot.
Sure.
But I have no idea. If tell me anything you want, and I'm going to have to trust you on this one because I have no idea. You know?
You got to find a good, it's been my opinion, you got to find a good neighborhood mechanic, mom and pop garage.
Yes.
Those dudes really know what's going on. We had a car that was under warranty, and we took it to a local dealership because it was having some issues, and I'll never forget this. So the kid rolled it in there, and he plugged it in. And he goes, well, this is telling me everything is fine. His computer screen. I'm like, dude,
looks good right here.
Yeah.
Nope, it's checking out all right.
Did they teach you that at mechanic school?
I also like when I get the full rundown from the guy. Like I understand what's going on. He's like, all right, so if you can see right here, you see that you pop the blow joint or something.
Oh, I love that. They actually
blood joint?
They show you what's going on.
Yeah,
Armen said he-
Your blow joint's busted. You better watch out. It was one of those moments where I did a lot of nodding along. All right, so this is right here. This is gonna be that's really bad.
Oh, I'm in the same boat. I've owned homes for a long time, but now with since YouTube was invented, I'm a little better at figuring things out on my own. Not great, but there's a few things I can do.
But it makes you just know enough to be dangerous.
That's true.
Yep, and it was. I mean, he would airplane mechanic in World War II.
That's amazing.
All right,
you,
so
you fix those things. You know what you're doing because
Come on now.
that's serious stakes. You better be fixing.
You know what he did? Fixed everything. He had a great saying to my dad. He goes, Billy, you're never going to make any money in this world. You call somebody to fix something. You got to make sure it's good and bleeped up first. Definitely messed up.
My rule of thumb is if I search what's the problem is and I see a YouTube video that's over like 7 or 8 minutes, I ain't going. It's time to call somebody.
I ain't got time for that.
No, it's very detailed. I'm not going to do that. If it's 90 seconds.
If it's a YouTube short, you feel a lot better.
That's a smart control for the garage opener. And I figured it out, and I did. I'm like, I'm telling you something. I'm taking victory laps. I walk around with my chest out like I'm somebody.
Oh, that's a
you
win.
see who fixed that today? Yeah, I'm the man out here, you know. So
had our guy come over and finish up. So he also, I program Smart House, program Alexa. I'm like, dude, I do believe I should be able to figure that out. If I have problems with that one, I will call you. But if I have problems with that, I think I got bigger issues on it.
I was reading a story this morning where people are going back to dumb houses, dumb homes.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for reading nooks and calmer spaces with less tech.
Huh.
I need
that house, the old Disney Channel original movie. That was a movie that made you want to not have an Alexa in the house.
I am not to that point yet. I guess they're reinstalling landlines. I'm at the point now where I'm pretty happy with I like my Ring doorbells and I like my my Google Chromecasts all over the place that I can just throw on the streaming.
We got a safe amount of tech in the house. Just then we
Just
don't
enough to not.
just enough to have. But I'm with Dolph. I like to get my ring camera way too dangerous for us to know.
Oh yeah.
And us to be watching everything because I already sit there and watch that camera when I wake up in the morning.
Sure.
Yeah, and then you're gonna see a ghost down there, and then that's gonna be
that's
a game changer. And you're gonna be
Scrolling
one
through
of
it,
those
checking it
paranormal
out.
shows.
Casper.
Well, as Billy,
Casper.
as Billy knows, I do that with some things. I choose not to buy the tech. Usually, that's really what.
Yeah, usually because that's when there's a paywall.
But you probably won't see me in the car at a stoplight pulling out the map anymore at this point. Even though I love maps, I probably
Because you know where you're going.
maps. Yeah, there you go, Lonnie. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's what it is. I know what I'm doing.
Oh man. Well, we know what we're doing because Scott Dolphin brings a roadmap in here. Might be old school to print out all the headlines, but he's got great head.
Baby, I love
Dude,
that.
I carry it with me wherever I go. I'll take this home with me today, just in case I miss something. Read it on the couch to
I was
myself.
going to say just a little comfort.
Yeah.
I have something in the
I
bathroom.
did you guys talk about Fick in your first?
We did a little bit.
Yeah.
We have a lot more to talk about, right? I would say, Billy.
A lot more to discuss. Talked a lot about it with our friend Ben from our news station down the hall.
Off air, we talked.
Off
about
air,
it.
he was fired up about it. It's weeks ago, but it's good to get out in front of it because it does indicate that we understand that the next 4 weeks will be challenging times for Wisconsin football. We just want to let you know that things on the horizon, while not changing in terms of who's here, I thought the admission from and funding investment that we're going to have monetarily, not only in just players, but everything around it. I thought that was pretty pertinent for them, maybe a little bit of an admission of guilt.
Yeah, and I guess I was just assuming that this was going to be it. You just look at the culture of college football and how, this year alone, how many guys have already even shown the door? Half a dozen?
But
More?
you know what? That's true. But it might be better in the long run. Look, obviously, there's a couple situations. We talk about the buyout, but it's also not an ideal time to be looking for a coach.
Oh yeah,
because you have a lot of openings.
Well, you have National Signing Day coming up in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, and just this cycle is a lot of openings. So therefore, there's
in Penn State, and there might be another Auburn as well, and there could be another one that ends up popping open. You become like the at best 5th or 6th best job available, and then go down potentially after some of those guys leave to go to one of those spots.
UCLA is another one, but that guy might get the job full time.
Yeah, he might get the job full time. You don't necessarily know. So you're in the championship even more difficult because those championship coaches that you want, well, they're coaching in the college football playoff trying to win the championship, and they're not going to leave right away, Dolph. That's a weird spot to be in.
Well, that's a mess at LSU right now.
Big mess.
Well, you could say that these are messes these programs create too, because you take a big name, you try and pry them away from a school, and you have to do with the big financial package, right? So you have to commit all this money to them, and if they don't perform right away, your fan base gets angry. But if you're not going to commit money to them, you probably won't get them, retain them, because somebody else will, because everyone's desperate to win and win quickly. So you have to either commit patience as well as time. And if your fan base won't allow that, then you're going to be in this terrible cycle that we've talked about. And Billy, you talked about that all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be that.
Right. And Nebraska was a revolving door. God, what a nightmare that was. Side note, Paul Christ is the finalist for the Oregon State Beavers head coaching job.
That's interesting, ain't it?
Huh?
Well, and that is
good football coach.
Wouldn't be and that's where Gary Anderson went. If I'm a weird connection.
Yeah. Time is a flat circle.
It is. Time is a flat circle. And I listen, Paul's a great example of a guy that I think has always been a great, really good solid football coach. But the trouble for him was changing with the times, so we'll see.
And if you have enough infrastructure around and people to help, again, allow you to coach football, Paul Chris would be phenomenal at it. He has to do all the other things. I don't necessarily know he wants to do a ton of that, but you have to in today's day and age. You got to do so much of it. It's something that the university, all the funding does need to funnel down, because it's one of the biggest marketing tools you have is your college football team.
Right. Yeah. So they get Washington tomorrow, 3:30 kickoff. Washington's still in the hunt for a college football playoff spot.
You better believe it. They're an 11-point favorite at institutions where you can do that south of the border.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. Washington's really good offense. They got this wide receiver, quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Tough recipe. The only teams that have slowed them down offensively, Ohio State. They did that to most teams, and Michigan there for a while.
For Wisconsin, like at Oregon, maybe the weather will play a factor in tomorrow's game. It looks like the rain, could be snow, starts early afternoon, so by kickoff, it might be a bit messy at the camp.
It's going to be a fun outlook on the Camp Randall State, and seeing the snow start falling, realizing that we're going to be driving back in that. Oh, it's going to be a good time.
And not wait.
You are dedicated, Billy. Brewers have offered a qualifying offer to Brandon Woodruff. He declined his mutual option, but he has until November 18th to accept this. If he doesn't accept it, the Brewers are going to get draft compensation. They love having him. He's the longest tenured Brewer. He had a good season despite the fact his velocity was down this year.
Oh, yes.
And he claims that that's going to be right back up to where it was before the injury, 96, 97 miles an hour. This year, his fastball was averaging around 93.
Well, I think, though, tell me if I'm wrong, Billy, is that it started to dip right when the injury concerns popped up. So, yeah, that would be the idea.
Yep.
That would be the idea, but he came back, I think, better. Whereas this was a rehab of an injury we just don't see a lot of.
No.
And we don't know what the roadmap is for a situation like that. I would like to think that the Brewers and he, both sides, would love to be together again. But the thing is with Brandon, and I don't begrudge him for it, he's been a really good pitcher in this league or any sort of contract because of the situation with the injuries. So he pretty much, and I don't begrudge him for it, has to take what he can get in terms of the best deal he can get now because this is one chance to earn something.
Do you think somebody will offer him a multi-year deal?
I think somebody gives him an opportunity with, there's probably some restrictions on the multi-year deal. But, the most he's ever gotten, Armen, to your point, a $10 million deal, $17 million over the 2 years that the Brewers gave him. He's kind of got to strike while the iron is somewhat hot, albeit it's definitely lukewarm with that injury. The injury gives me more reason to think full load and complement of young starting pitching that's waiting in the farm system doesn't make me feel like Brandon Woodruff returns in 2026.
He's the guy you'd love to have in your rotation. Help or not, love to have him in your clubhouse. He's been a committed Brewer for a long time. But he's just, for the quality of performance he's put out in baseball and what other guys would make at the right time, he just hasn't had it. And you just can't blame him one bit if he tries to squeeze every dollar he can because his career, he didn't know if he was going to pitch again.
Because the effectiveness is there. It never is really. He's going to figure it out.
Yeah,
he's going to figure out how to get people out.
Finally, full transparency. I didn't see a minute of Denver and the Raiders last
You
night.
are lucky, man.
So lucky.
Yeah, so tell me how in this era of NFL football where everybody's throwing the rock all over the place, do you end up with a 10-7 final? What happened?
Well, because Denver blocked a punt, Dolph, inside the 10-yard line and lost yards trying to score a touchdown, in which one of the plays, Bo Nix rolls out to his left, throws the ball to, I want to say, Evan Ingram, and spiked it like 7 yards in front.
Oh, my God.
This is
it was horrendous. Geno Smith leads the NFL in interceptions. Bo Nix had more of them last night.
Yeah, Geno, man. I thought he was going to be good.
In all fairness, he's not really have much to throw to. He doesn't have much around him. Jacoby Myers now has been shipped out. But I'll say this. I told Billy, I think this is what it is just the throwback of the old Thursday night games that when we first started getting them, how they were all these dregs, always terrible. And I'm like, I just feel like we're getting another one of those. Because we've been getting lucky with some good Thursday night games.
You called it.
But everyone seems banged up, tired on those nights, and it's been improving. But last night,
Thanks, man.
They have to. Those are phenomenal.
Awesome.
Such a good look.
It's just funny how things cycle back and everyone loves retro again. Now I'm one of those guys, but you know how I feel about this. I believe everybody should be wearing the uniforms they wore in 1994. But that's just Armen.
Then that was why you would like the Iowa Hawkeyes this weekend against the Oregon Ducks. You don't want this flash and sizzle with these 1900 uniform combinations. Give me a black and gold.
Yeah, they're actually going to wear all black for some reason.
What are the numbers are though? What color are the numbers?
Well, they have like 3 different combinations: yellow stripes and all yellow numbers. Sometimes they have yellow with different color piping on them. But
I'm just thinking about the great Gary Dolphin. We'll make sure he can see those numbers when he's
oh
calling.
yeah. Well, fortunately, he has a good spotter up on in the booth. Dolph needs a spotter. He's older and less not as good looking as me, Armen. So
do you ever call you to spot?
No, he invites me up there a lot, but I have no desire to go to the press
Really?
conference.
It's too much work, not enough.
Which is good.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they feed you well up there.
Yeah.
No,
it's a great view.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be happy about it, especially if that rain snow mix actually does stick at Camp Randall.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely one of those where I'd much rather prefer to be in the bowl and enjoying it. Dolph, we always enjoy it, man. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Have a good weekend, boys.
There he is, Scott Dolphin, hanging out with us here, and I'll say to him, go Hawks this weekend. Moneyline bet.
All right, hey, you got it. Hey.
Although I will say, Armen,
you got some stuff to pay for. Yeah.
This mode when
I don't. I know some people do. I know what you're about the public money and who's on
my God.
There's a right side and a wrong side. That's how I try to approach it.
Herb Street yesterday is on the McAfee show.
Iowa beats Oregon this weekend.
Herbie, shut your damn mouth.
I mean,
shut your mouth.
It changes the number, but if you get the number right, who cares? Sorry.
I just don't want Dan Lanning telling his boys and then get them all fired up. And all of a sudden,
you're betting against Dan Lanning. You have to make that decision with yourself. Hey, come on.
We got about 2.5, 3 hours through some adversity here on this Football Friday. We're having a lot of fun with it. I think we're doing a good job of it. YouTube stream is definitely fighting through some adversity with us here on this beautiful Friday morning.
And before the show ends, I'm going to tell you, I heard the greatest thing you could possibly ever hear from one of your new neighbors. I heard it from my new neighbor before the show ends. It's a little off topic, so Dobbler, I'm sorry. It's a little
well, I think that needs to
before whenever you want to do it.
How about we do it in non-disclosure hour?
Why not?
Why don't we ask Armen anything questions of the week? Because we have a couple that we've been waiting and sitting on. That comes up next. We'll hit into hour number 2. Luke Fickell is going to return as the head coach at the University of Wisconsin. How you feel about it? You'll hear an explanation that Chris McIntosh had with Jesse Temple. And we'll let you have your voice heard at 877-794-1973. It's no BS on the game.
Stay tuned.
You do like to grab attention.
No BS will be back in just a moment. If you missed No BS, you missed out on this.
How much emotion was in that game last week in Pennsylvania against the Pittsburgh Steelers? How much the young team put into victory and a 2-touchdown win, Sunday Night Football. It was a predictable spot for emotion to not be able to rise to that occasion. That's a great learning lesson in the NFL. And even though us as fans and feel like, well, you should have learned that lesson in 2023 when you went to New York and got DeVitoed, right? Because we think of beating Detroit, beating Kansas City, Thanksgiving night, Sunday Night Football at home. Maybe to go on Monday Night Football and lose to the Giants, right? Being able to follow up those highly emotional victories with another great performance, that's something you got to learn. That's the consistency part of it. Again, they are one of the youngest teams in pro football. You're not using it as an excuse or just an explanation or a statement, but you're learning year in and year out how to win.
Billy and Armen are talking about all of your favorite teams each morning from 6 to 10 on the game.
iHeartRadio soundtrack flashback.
Okay, so the movie was crap, but it gave us a huge song from Seal. 1995's Batman Forever was laughable, but Kiss from a Rose was the song we all needed.
Yeah, I can bring you to a kiss from a rose on the way. Ooh, the more I get of you, stranger it feels, yeah.
For more great movie soundtrack hits, check out Popcorn Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
Alzheimer's disease is the sixth leading cause of death in the country, and it's affecting almost 7 million Americans, including 110,000 people here in Wisconsin. UW-Madison is working hard to improve the lives of those affected, offering resources to educate and the latest in research and technology. The UW Initiative to End Alzheimer's has so many ways you can benefit, learn, get involved, and make a difference. Visit goalsforacure.org. That's goalsforacure.org.
It's the greatest story in sports.
Star dropping straight back. Hit as he throws, has the ball. It is a touchdown.
I'm Doug Russell, and this is Tales from 1265, an insider's look at football's most storied franchise. A franchise that has had its dynasties.
This is the first Super Bowl trophy, and it's something Green Bay can keep. We're going to have a new trophy each year.
And its rebirths.
Every major football decision will be made by Ron Wolf.
I realize I'm a Green Bay Packer now, and maybe I can prove that I am worth the first-round pick next year, but just got to be patient.
But I was really impressed with the coaching staff, with the whole organization, and with the direction the team is going. I think they have a total commitment to winning.
Tales from 1265 is presented by Nicolay Law, your local award-winning injury lawyers. If you've been injured, get Nicolay, Wisconsin's winning team of lawyers that will get you back in the game. Tales from 1265 is a production of iHeartRadio Podcasts and is available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Music, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
iHeartRadio. Soundtrack. Flashback.
The only song sanctioned for running upstairs is Gonna Fly Now. Bill Conti's theme from 1976's Rocky fits perfectly on today's workout playlists.
For more great movie soundtrack hits, check out Popcorn Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
Yada, yada, yada.
Yada, yada, yada.
Well, obviously the yada, yada.
Message marked urgent.
We're here for you now on the NicolayLaw.com talk and text line.
Hey, I'm just trying to find some answers here.
At 1-877-794-1973.
Stepping on the table, she don't need a dance floor. Oh my, good Lord. Someone pour me up a double shot of whiskey. They know me and Jack Daniels got a history. There's a party downtown near 5th Street. Everybody at the bar getting tipsy.
Might be the song of the weekend, has been for a long time. It's No BS on the Game. I'm Billy Schmidt. That's Armen Sarian. Now, getting tipsy, that might happen tomorrow's 3:30 kickoff at Camp Randall Stadium.
Especially when they upset the Washington Huskies.
That's what I like to hear, Armen. First top 25 win under Luke Fickell.
Tomorrow's the
Coming
day.
up. Tomorrow?
Why
That's
not?
what I'm talking about. Why not us?
Weather, why not us? They might be feeling the pressure. I don't know, but it could happen.
I like it. I like it a lot. I also don't like the fact that our guy from earlier this week that reported all the alcohol sales per units retracted
Matt
a lot
Brown.
of his numbers and said that it actually wasn't nearly as impressive. And I think Wisconsin came in like 7th in the re-ranking. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you, Luddy. I don't believe him. It was kind of one of those where he's like, I think I insulted too many people, so I'm just going to like retract and like pull back a little bit. But we'll see. I hope that we're not being outdrank by Nebraska.
Billy, I was up there at one of those regular or non-conference games earlier. I forget which one, the second one. I took a little gander outside at Camp Randall while you were doing the post game around 10:30, 11. I went, man, that looks really fun down there.
That looks like a good
and
time.
You and I traveled down the streets, out of Camp Randall, and we see the flow of students. It is still a fantastic time in Madison, Wisconsin, and in the state of Wisconsin. And yes, we still drink more than anyone. Don't let some dumb statistic by some guy named Matt Brown ruin your day.
Yeah, I agree. You can
don't
slice,
let some AI Matt Brown tell you
right.
otherwise.
You can slice and dice these numbers however you want. All right. You blocked him. I blocked him. You showed him.
We're going to cap off October, Luddy. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I think you can slice and dice.
Days late, but who cares?
You slice and dice these numbers however you want. Everybody knows. Everybody knows
who's really putting in the work.
That being said, it does kind of stink because I was ready to raise a banner, man. We raised that banner right into Camp Randall or the Kohl Center, wherever you want to put it, and say, hey, we're number one.
Okay,
I still
Armen,
believe we are.
you said you had a good non sequitur to be able to fire up with us as we close out the Ask Armen Anything hour for the week. It's been rambunctious. It's been fun.
Yeah, and I know we've had a little issue on the YouTube stream.
And we're battling it. But we're working on it.
Jump in on the iHeart stream. You
Please
can listen
do.
to us clear there. And you can
1070
chime
the
in.
game.
You can still chime in on the AMA and ask anything. Dobbler's saying we're fixed. So I'm happy about that. So, all right, as you know, Billy, the moving is happening. You know, I'm going to be in the new house and, you know, right around the corner from my parents, which is a good thing, you know. And it's funny we bring up snow because that got me a little bit nervous, of course, because I come from a condo where I pay the condo fee. So we don't have snow or grass.
You don't have to do any removal.
I don't, but I also don't have equipment, which I will now need equipment. Okay, so I'm somewhat prepared for the grass equipment, but the snow situation's different, and thank goodness Dad is right around the corner, and he pays for a service now because I'm like, Dad, don't be doing the snow blowing anymore, you know, as you get up in the years and stuff like that. So I was like, kind of the tentative plan. I was just he still has a snow blower, going to make sure it works and use his for the time being. And I met my new neighbor. That's a very important moment, right? You're going to be meeting a new neighbor. Now, my dad always told me there's nothing as important and priceless in life as a good neighbor. And we know that, you know, so you know me right away. I'm talking about first impressions, like a first date. My man, his name's Tom, all right? First date, trying to get everything right, trying to be as friendly as I can be, as amicable. We're working on some great things and stuff like that. We were just talking, having a great time. And then he gives me probably the greatest thing you'll ever hear. He goes, I don't know what it's like. And he knows, you know, the previous owners. And he's like, but I don't know what you feel comfortable with. But he goes, if I'm out there early enough and there's snow and I'm snow blowing, goes, I love snow. And he said, I love snow. So if you don't mind and I'm out there early, I don't mind doing yours. Oh my gosh.
Hold on.
You could have had tears.
I like doing it.
He said you could have had tears coming from my eyes. I was about to be like, I love you. I love you. You tell me you love snow.
You were Jordan hugging the trophy. It's a dream for times like this.
I said I used to dream for these. You tell me.
Holy cow.
My new neighbor tells me he loves snow so much. He's asking me if he's out there early enough. And if he gets
Damn,
to it first.
Tom sent from the heavens?
He sent from the heavens. Are you kidding me, man? Right
if
now.
I'm out there early enough. Sorry, I get up real early and I really just like snow. Would you mind if I snowblowed like before you woke up? So when you got up in the morning and you had to go out and, you know, I don't know, go about your life, it's all clean for you?
It's enough to bring a young man to tears. Let me tell you like that. I mean, that's probably one of the best
Did he immediately bring up compensation for this package?
I didn't know. I said, hey, I can maybe we can get you some cookies. Or I don't know what. I don't know what.
You offer cookies?
Well, I didn't say anything. I just was stunned mostly. I'm just thinking in my head. Yeah, you're right. You know what should I do?
This is awesome.
Oh, that was pretty cool. That was pretty awesome. I mean, I'm like, that's the setup we're working with. So I like to think it got off to a good start. I'm not going to,
Tom.
I don't want to expect anything, but that is really, I mean, you can't imagine having a better thing to hear from your new neighbor, right? To start it up, right? So that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
I really should have went and met all my neighbors right away.
Yeah. Ryan Muskego, is this
what could have happened?
Real life, Everybody Loves Raymond, or Big Fat Greek Wedding? Well, I'm not next door to my parents.
So. They're not right next door, down the road or through
just
the creek.
over yonder, you know, over yonder,
around the corner, somewhere around the corner. But I think that is phenomenal.
Well, dudes do like big machines, and if you have enough big enough snowblower, it is kind of fun to get out there.
There is the moment in time where you get the snowblower or thrower, wherever you're from,
right?
Truly churning.
And you don't want that part in?
It is hard to turn off. Like once you get that thing rolling and you really start having some fun, I get why Thomas would like it. I would have tried to negotiate something. He needs a better agent.
He definitely does.
You're not finding any better neighbors.
I know.
Golly, love thy neighbor. Armen Sarian loving him before he even moves in. 877-794-1973. He's Armen. I'm Billy. It's a Fast Football Friday. We might have everything figured out going into hour 2. Stay with us on the game.
97.3 The Game. This is what's trending in Milwaukee now.
Luke Fickell is sticking around. Wisconsin Athletic Director Chris McIntosh telling the team the news yesterday. McIntosh was also interviewed by Badger Connect's Jesse Temple. In tweeted out comments, McIntosh told Temple,
the priority for me is to continue to grow the program in a way that puts us in a position to achieve those expectations. That comes in many forms. It's not limited to wins and losses. You know, there are so many factors that contribute to that, and that's where my priority is.
The Badgers host number 23 Washington tomorrow. Kickoff is at 3:30. Coming up tonight, Wisconsin men's basketball at the Kohl Center against Northern Illinois. Men's hockey at number 2 Michigan. And Week 10 in the NFL began last night in Denver. The Broncos beat the Raiders 10-7. I'm Doug Russell on the Game Radio Network.
Miss an hour of no BS?
Honestly, Billy, I don't think you'd miss it.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search No BS on the iHeartRadio app.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1970.
In November, George Harrison's triple solo album goes to number 1 in the US and the UK. The album yields a number 1 single in My Sweet Lord. And TV sitcom The Partridge Family generates a number 1 hit with I Think I Love You with vocals by newly minted teen idol David Cassidy.
I do know what I'm up against. I do know what it's all about. I got so much to think about. Hey, I think I love you. So what am I so afraid of? I'm afraid that I'm not sure of a love there is no cure for.
And Eric Clapton forms Derek and the Dominoes and releases an album including guest appearances by Dwayne Allman. The single Layla goes top 10 in the US and the UK.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1970. Coming up.
The Milwaukee Admirals wrap up a 4-game homestand on Friday night when they host the Rockford Ice Hogs at Panther Arena. From the far circle, slot, Carr, shoot, scores! Happy birthday, Daniel Carr! Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Bryan Adams to discuss how he comes up with song titles.
Yeah, I'm actually, a lot of my song titles are mumbles. With Cuts Like a Knife, it was just like, we used to jam. You know, Jim Valance and I would jam songs together, and I remember we listened back to the tape afterwards. And I said, that sort of sounded like Cuts Like a Knife. Didn't it sound like Cuts Like a Knife? He goes, yeah. And then I play it back, and yes, I said Cuts Like a Knife. That's cool. And then he'd say, what about Cuts Like a Knife, but it feels so right? I said, that's a good idea. So whatever that means. He makes sense of my mumbles.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Bryan Adams and all your favorite artists.
Touchdown, Wisconsin! Join us Saturday. Wisconsin returns home to host Washington. Our coverage begins at 1:30 on Milwaukee's home for Wisconsin Badger football. 95.7 Big FM.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1970.
In November, George Harrison's triple solo album goes to number 1 in the US and the UK. The album yields a number 1 single in My Sweet Lord. And TV sitcom The Partridge Family generates a number 1 hit with I Think I Love You with vocals by newly minted teen idol David Cassidy.
I do know what I'm up against. I do know what it's all about. I got so much to think about. Hey, I think I love you. So what am I so afraid of? I'm afraid that I'm not sure of a love there is no cure for.
And Eric Clapton forms Derek and the Dominoes and releases an album including guest appearances by Dwayne Allman. The single Layla goes top 10 in the US and the UK.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1970. Coming up.
And on 3rd down and 12, snap the love of the shotgun, steps up and rainbows again down the middle. This time he's got Watson, leaping grab, it is caught, and down he goes, 30-yard line of Carolina. They have flipped the field to Christian Watson.
You may not play for your favorite team, but you act like it. Whether you're at work or outside on the grill, you carry them with you. No, not with a jersey, but a mindset. As you crack open that ice-cold beer. Cheesehead TV and Gathering Place Brewing bring you Carry the G, a delicious and easy drinking cream ale. But it's not just for tailgating, it's for everyday life.
Well, we carry the G wherever we may be, so creamy and cold from the land of the green and gold.
Throughout Wisconsin, 21 plus, drink responsibly.
This is No BS with Billy and Armen on Wisconsin's home for the best sports talk and other stuff. The Game.
Message marked urgent.
We're here for you now on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line at 1-877-794-1973.
Wisconsin may not be the number 1 team in the country this week, but it was recently ranked the number 1 party school in the country by no less an authority than Playboy magazine.
No BS on the game. Billy and Sarian with you. Hour 2 hits it right now on YouTube and X. Can't wait to hang out with all of you. And we are rolling and sounding better, it sounds like, on YouTube, which is a good thing. As we've been battling through as 60 Minutes from 2007 brings us back.
There's something about the 60-minute sound that reminds you that the late game window's ending on Sunday. Only on the West Coast, 60 Minutes on the West Coast.
Everybody but the West Coast, you will see 60 Minutes in your entirety. In its entirety.
Steve Croft or whoever.
Followed by your late local news.
Late local news, absolutely. That was when, listen, you know, when I grew up, you kind of, that's what you got. You got what you got. Unless you had cable or, well, even if you had cable, there really wasn't, Sunday Ticket wasn't a thing yet. And you got the games you got. And then that means it was almost time for dinner. And then that depression that football Sunday was almost over, Billy. That was tough.
That was when mom started letting you know that dinner was about ready and late third quarter. And you're like, damn.
I gotta go back.
One more game on.
I gotta go back to school tomorrow. And the Sunday night game was ESPN. So I did. If you didn't have cable, I got it on the radio. But
and then you knew that, like, now, well, this is probably not you because you were doing your homework right away when you got home at 4. But like sitting there, like
on the bus too.
I didn't do anything.
You might think but I was a procrastinator.
I've got this massive science project due tomorrow, and I have not started at all.
Oh yeah, so you better get.
Nor am I going to start until probably when I'm eating my breakfast tomorrow morning.
That's where you start scrambling
something together
to get the baking soda and the vinegar together for the volcano. That's
then
the
all of a
best
sudden my
shot.
mom just looks at me like, "What are you doing? Homework now? Yeah." There wasn't a better time to be doing that, like all weekend.
Busted.
Yeah, but Madden just came out.
Yeah, Mom, but there's football on. I don't care. That is not how we do this in this house. I'm
Let's
like,
go.
Mom, all due respect, it kind of is. I do this every week. I mess around, wait way too long, but you don't actually say that. Instead, you suck up with some better. I know, Mom, I'm sorry. Could you help me?
Let's be honest. You come home on Friday night from school, and if it wasn't basketball or football season, or if you weren't in
And
high
you're
school yet,
chucking that backpack to the floor.
chuck the backpack into the closet or on the floor or into the room. So there wasn't, sorry, Mom, an identifier of how many books are in there.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like, so if I got that in the bedroom, it's like, no, my backpack's in the bedroom. All right. So like, if it's a heavier load, she can see that you might have had you had some homework to do or something like that. And I'm like, I do feel I have good skills, talents, but being organized wasn't always one of them. So I had the folders with the papers coming out and things like that. And it was like, oh man. But usually once, if it was like an oral presentation or something going on there, I was able, I had good report to teachers, I'm thinking stuff like that I could get by. You know what I mean? So,
Well, listen, your boy was one of the best at asking for an extension.
You were good at that, Billy.
I was pretty good at negotiating an extension on home.
A talker. You're a talker, right? We all have different skills.
Found different ways to hone my craft. A lot of it was talking to my friend Miss Rose, who was the detention secretary at Whitnall High School, and we were able to negotiate a lot of good deals. A lot of good work, a lot of time that I probably should have been in there or it wasn't in there. But,
but that was Friday night, man. You trucked the backpack and then you got started on
living
Mario
life and
Kart.
enjoying
On Mario Kart.
Yes, playing Madden. You're right, Mario Kart, or just studying up on NFL matchup as to what was going to be coming up that weekend.
Yeah.
Or watching some college football final, which was preluding NFL matchup on ESPN2 on Sunday mornings when your boy would wake up at about 7 in the morning.
One thing we didn't get Friday night back in the day was college football.
We didn't get the FS1 8:00 kick on Friday nights.
No, that's when you Billy, if you're, I'm sure at a certain age you were starting to get interested in your local high school team, right? You were starting to play middle school, things like that. You were getting that going.
Yeah, we weren't getting Big Ten battles like USC against Northwestern.
No, tonight's the night. And they got 14 in a hook. So that's just the way it is. But we weren't getting those battles. We weren't getting Tulane and Memphis, which I'm sure you're going to be locked in on tonight.
Oh, I can't wait. John Summerall, good football coach.
Yeah, ranked. Memphis is ranked.
And Tulane's football coach is going to end up somewhere bigger. And that's another conversation for another time. But as you talk about different coaches going different places, one coach that is not going anywhere is the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers, Luke Fickell. Yesterday, it was confirmed to Pete Thamel of ESPN, who put out the story right around 4 p.m. Luke Fickell will return to lead the Badgers in 2026. Chris McIntosh announced Thursday. With the 2-6 overall and winless play in the Big Ten, McIntosh informing the Wisconsin team on Thursday that Fickell will return next year. The return will come with changes which include increased investment in the roster and program, along with an ongoing analysis of every facet of the program.
So we're going to be keeping a closer watch on you.
We're going to be watching
this. This is almost like, Billy, what I hear is he's returning. We're going to give you the resources we think are necessary. Therefore, you have no excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to keep a watch on you as like a probationary period. It's almost like, you're on the probationary, what do they call that in business? Sometimes the performance plan.
Performance improvement plan.
That's it. The PIP.
The PIP.
The performance improvement plan.
They are very much instituting a performance improvement plan. And as McIntosh said to ESPN, and then we're going to hear from Chris McIntosh. He sat down with Jesse Temple at Badger Connect really quickly. Chancellor Mnuchin and I are aligned on significantly elevating investment in our program to compete at the highest level, McIntosh told ESPN. We are willing to make an investment in infrastructure and staff as important as our ability to retain and recruit players in a revenue share and NIL era. If Wisconsin is going to be as competitive as we expect, the program has to be the support has to be as competitive. There's no getting around it. Our people, our fans are passionate about Wisconsin football. I'd have it no other way. A successful football program is important to university, state, and to our university, to the state, and our letterman, which Chris McIntosh is one of. This season has caused all of us to look from within. Luke has had to do that. I've had to do that. He has a willingness to be better. So do I, and so does Wisconsin from an institutional perspective. Our intention is to be, in terms of our investment, on par with those that we intend to compete with. Our expectations are to compete at the highest level in the Big Ten and beyond. And Chris McIntosh continued with saying about Luke Fickell that he has the vision and the fire to do it. The same things that made Luke Fickell a unanimously great hire in 2022 remain. He's a winner, program builder, and developer of talent, and he understands the Big Ten. We all acknowledge this is short of expectations. We have identified the ways in which we need to be successful, and we plan to be successful. We are executing that plan. Chris McIntosh yesterday to Pete Thamel of ESPN. Now, there's a lot of different parts of that, and I think maybe the most important was right after Armen. He says this has caused us all to have to look from within.
Yeah.
And then just like 3 or 4 lines of admission of guilt.
This is really interesting. I agree, Billy.
Where he said Luke knows that he needs to do that. Luke Fickell knows he needs to be better. Obviously, the wins and losses need to be better. But what have you done outside? As coaches used to always say to you, what are you doing outside of practice to be better on the field? What are you doing outside of the meeting rooms, outside of recruiting, outside of the practice field, the game field, studying film to bring in more of those dollars?
Sure.
To cultivate the letterman group that was, let's be honest, a little bit turned off and frustrated when one of their own doesn't get the job in Jim Leonhard. And it was kind of spoken by a lot of different former players to say, what is this? We don't run air raid at Wisconsin.
And they're still speaking
we do. And they're still very much speaking it. And understand
on Twitter, everywhere you can find, right?
And as I would expect them to, Armen, when they were kind of proven right. Right? Like at times you're right. And you're going to let everyone know about it. And what the immediate pivot was in terms of offensive play or whatever fell flat. There then was a plan to rectify it. I think the offensive strategy is not necessarily the problem. What then the next part ends up being is the biggest issue, where our intention is, in terms of our investment, to be on par with those that we intend to compete with. Our expectations are to compete at the highest level of the Big Ten and beyond.
All right, so on par with those we want to compete with, but then he said, compete with the highest. So you're on par with the highest.
So we're going to be on par with the highest spending teams in the Big Ten, which would state that you intend to be among the highest spending teams in the sport. I don't know that we've ever seen that before.
And I don't know that we should expect it to be sustainable if we do.
I very much echo that sentiment.
That's the problem here. And I don't know how much I can really believe that it's possible. You know, that was really the genesis of how we started doing this conversation at 540 before we got on air, is the spending piece. Now, in terms of the statement, Billy, is that taking accountability? It's statement season. So, like, it's a good statement. These are great words.
Oh, yeah. It
I
writes
love reading
really well.
It writes
reads well.
All right. He validated feelings of the fan base, right? I'm disappointed and frustrated that our season has gone just like our players, coaches, and fans. It's a big thing for fans. They want their feelings validated when they're frustrated by players, coaches, administrators, right? We're evaluating prep to execute. These things they're committed. These sound good, Billy. And I don't fault him for the way he said it and what he said, and I believe it's true. I believe McIntosh wants to get better. I believe he wants to spend more. But it's hard for me to believe realistically that you can expect right now to be able to spend with the top programs consistently. And then when I think about that, I think about, who's spending the most? Indiana right now, right?
Indiana's among the highest spenders in the sport.
We know about Michigan, Ohio State, and I'd say
always going to be the highest in the sport.
If that can be the case, and if they have, look, McIntosh has got to have a plan for this funding, I would think. If that's the case, great. Now, is it just for 1 year and you succeed? Great. Then what do you do the next year? That's the other problem. Is it sustainable, right?
Well, the sustainability of it is one of the toughest. And when McIntosh talks about, as difficult as it is to see at this point, and I know the easiest buzzword is there's no such thing as culture in sports now, or in college sports now with the transfer portal and NIL. Actually, it's even more impactful because you're changing some of the most important characters of your team year in and year out.
So the
now, not as many as people would like to think, not as many as there once was, but the core players of your team do have to then welcome in and set a standard and hold the new players to it through that level of excellence, right? Like there needs to be people that are established and a core group that bring the culture together. And like you're hearing a lot of different coaches and the programs that just fired their coaches.
Yeah.
Say, for one reason or another, the culture word does have to be a strong part of it. That's where Lane Kiffin's like, hey, people don't want me. They want the culture that we bring. They want the core ethos of how each individual player that is a part of the team welcomes in Trinidad Shamlis, who comes in from Division II and plays quarterback.
Because in theory, that
80% of our team has been here last year, listening, been a part of it, been with us, rocked with us, grew with us. There does have to establish and be that baseline and core foundation. I think the Badgers have put a certain amount of really, really good young players together, but they're very, very young. And then you have to supplement it with additional players into the portal and retention. And that's where all of the funding comes from. Now, where you're bringing up the questions of to how many times, Armen, and this is the biggest fundamental question that not only will the University of Wisconsin, but a lot of teams that, as I think McIntosh says here, on par with those that we intend to compete with, there are such levels to this.
Yeah.
The on par that we plan to compete with, well, for a long time, that was the Iowas, Michigan States, right? Probably the team that's coming in here in Washington. Now, they got big money. They're in Seattle. But it's a little bit of a stranger market, if you want to say it that way.
And it's not a traditional Big Ten market.
So not a traditional Big Ten market.
So in some ways, you don't know what to expect.
You're not necessarily putting them in there.
There's no standard of foundation thing. Yeah.
But
you never had
when you can quickly class up, like Indiana did, we know they got big cash.
And it's worked for them, too.
That's
the thing. They got results.
Then maybe you can replenish it very, very quickly. But to go back to the same people year in and year out, Armen, and ask for the same amount of dollars, like, I don't know how much of that money is continually at the university.
And if you're going to do
continually at the boosters, disposal.
Yeah. Well,
I got an extra couple of mil.
Right.
Let's go get some linebackers.
And you need.
I got $750,000. Let's go get a tight end. Let's go get a wide receiver, because like you will still have to, and there are plenty of players out there that make a decision to say, "Hey, man, I can do with $700,000 instead of $950 that they're offering me here.
Right.
Like those decisions get made in the SEC, in the Big 10, in the Big 12, all over the place. You got to identify and find those guys. And that's where when the letterhead came out a couple of weeks ago to say, this isn't good enough, but we support Luke. I think the questions started to flare up and bubble up. And I think it's a fair question to ask. Was this investment that McIntosh talks about, that the chancellor and him and the entire university are pouring into the football team, was this what Luke Fickell was told he was getting when he first got the job?
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't seen that yet? Or is it, well, we got $20.5 million to spend in revenue sharing from the feds. And now we're able to, with the revenue share, we're going to spend this revenue share money and we're going to put it into the football team. Well, everybody else is doing that. Everybody's going to be adding that $7 million or whatever it ends up being. $8 million. However you slice up the $20.5 million across the school, everybody's going to be doing that in college football. So if you're going to make up the gap that you're in right now, it's not going to be enough with the money that the rest of the NCAA is providing you. So I really hope that it's there. I really don't know that it's sustainable to continually ask the same people for the same amount of money, and if not more, once you have more success. But what I do know is, Armen, I looked up the opponents for 2026 football season.
Yeah.
And whether this makes people happy or not, I think it's easy to forecast with a little bit more of the funding that comes through. Again, you hit on the right transfers, and that's a big if, because you can clearly say they have not brought in necessarily the right players. Andy Staples has been on this on 3 Sports, where he's like, I don't care about all of the wins and losses and the lack of funding here and there. It's how many good players have you brought in? With whatever funding you have,
right?
Where are the big time players you've brought in the portal? And that's hard, if not impossible, to kind of identify outside of when you then down the hall have Greg Gard, who year in and year out
finding the right guys,
is finding 1 to 2 star players in the portal.
And it's not just about money. It's finding guys that are outperforming the money you're spending. It's finding the guys, like, we have money to spend, but we have enough talent analysis as well to say we get the right guys. Like, it's one thing to get a good player and one thing to get the John Tonje, the best transfer in the country. Like, it's one thing to get, Store, what we might see with Nick Boyd here on the basketball side. And that's the key, Billy. And I think the other thing is, when you ask about repeating requests for funding or things, it's a lot easier to get alumni and to get boosters excited when you have results to show.
When you win.
When you start winning, and then you make a playoff run, and then you do all these things. I compare a lot to my Marquette memories and my experience there.
Absolutely.
Marquette had a huge donation building campaign right around the time they had a great run with the basketball team. Final Four, Dwayne Wade, all these things. It's no coincidence you can get people to donate more money during those times. That's when you build the Al McGuire's. That's when it's because people get excited about that. It's the same with the football program. And that's the other side of this, Billy, where I know you're going to go into the schedule here, which is instructive. So I think I'm going to say here is, in addition to the fact that there's a lot tougher landscape now, you have to find money. Fickell also has caught 0 breaks. And that's fair to say, I think, and it's realistic and it's reasonable to say. He has had a starting quarterback healthy for 2 years. Yeah. So he has caught 0 breaks during that time.
It doesn't excuse the performance, but it's
part of the puzzle.
It's
part of the puzzle. We don't know what would have happened if Billy Edwards was healthy this year. We don't know. And you have to think things would have been better to some extent, right? So then what happens with that too? That's another. So it's about the money, but it's also about how you spend it, as we know.
And it's about how then you coach up the players that are there.
Of course.
And then
that's still part of this.
And I bring you this as how does it, well, you can't flip it that quickly. Well, listen to who you play in 2026. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame at Lambeau Field, guys.
That's tough.
However, Notre Dame caught an L right out of the gates this year. They lost to Northern Iowa last year.
Illinois,
early.
Right?
No, Texas A&M at home.
They lost a bad game. They lost
to Northern Illinois. Thomas Hammock.
Northern Illinois last year. Yes, this year they lost to Texas A&M and one other who's in the playoff team.
Somebody else. Yeah.
Blanking on the team name right now. So you play Notre Dame at Lambeau, the Leathernecks of Western Illinois, and then Pittsburgh, who's top 25 right now. So good non-conference next year.
Mm-hmm.
But your Big Ten opponents are Michigan State, Rutgers, Minnesota, and USC at home. And on the road at Iowa, Maryland, Penn State, who's also 0-5 in the Big Ten, Purdue and UCLA. No Michigan, no Ohio State, no Oregon. I mean, like
those are winnable.
You missed the biggest of the big dogs in the conference again.
This might be your chance to
roll into 2027. Well, all right, that's a 1-year let up. Home games against Iowa, Nebraska, Northwestern, UCLA, Penn State. Road games at Michigan State, Illinois, Minnesota, USC. Those are a lot of the comparables. Those are a lot of the teams that you believe you should stack up with year in and year out. That is a Big Ten that you should be able to, dare I say, looks a lot more Big Ten West-ish with a lot of those teams that you end up playing. And that with the right moves in the portal this year to supplement the Mason Postas, Cooper Catalanos, keeping the Eugene Hiltons, right? Bringing along an offensive line that you've had like 3 different guys who are redshirt freshmen play significant snaps and start for you. You need improvement there, no doubt about it. But maybe the best offensive lineman that they brought in there missed the entire year with an ACL. I think Haywood's going to be a really, really good player. So, like, there's ways to forecast they can get better quickly, but then you need to continue to roll it over. So, as you said, start off the segment, Armen, and albeit yesterday's news is not what a lot of people wanted of, they want to see Luke Fickell gone. They want to see a change. They want a new coach.
Yeah.
The people that want him gone didn't get what they want yesterday.
Right.
But I can clearly tell you got the next best thing. You got a PIP, a performance improvement plan.
That's right.
And if you don't execute the performance improvement plan, then we will go with another plan. Like, that to me clearly puts, we are going to put as much as we can into this, and this better work. So to me, it's squarely, hey, we're bringing you back, but you will sit firmly on a hot seat in 2026. So it's the next best thing for the folks that wanted him gone. It's a vote of confidence. It's you will return for now, but let's put the accelerator down to the floorboard.
Yeah, and in reality, Billy, if you take the emotion back and step out of it, it's also a bad offseason to be looking for a new coach.
It's a bad offseason to look for a
lot of big jobs are open. You just have to, you have to look at it that way, and understanding obviously the buyout factor, how much it'll cost, how much a new coach would cost. This does make sense in some ways. And when you list off those teams, far be it from us right now, as Badger fans watching the team, to say anything's super winnable, like, oh, this is a win. Right now you're struggling against everybody. But that list of teams, like you said, are the teams you compare yourself against, that if you get things right, if things are getting right, you should be able to win a chunk of those games, or be competitive in all of them.
Be competitive in the game.
In all of them, right? Talking about Rutgers, like there are things you should be able to get better at here. And I think you feel like with some health you can, especially the quarterback position.
100%. Armen, no one's saying that it's okay to get blown out at home by Maryland. That's the complete opposite of what this has said. But I don't think you're as far away from being able to go in and do the same thing to them as it feels like right now, because things can change very, very quickly. 877-794-1973.
A lot of great texts. We'll get to them.
We'll get to all of the texts on the other side. Great ones coming in. You can have your voice heard as well. 877-794-1973. It's no BS on the game.
Stay on the streets of this town, and they'll be carving you up all right.
I'm Red Lewis with NFL Network Now and the Westwood One Radio Network. Week 10 of the NFL season kicked off in the Mile High City, where the Broncos improved to 8-2 after they outlasted the Raiders 10-7. Bo Nix threw for 150 yards and a touchdown, but Denver's defense was the true star, holding the Raiders to only one score and sacking Geno Smith 6 times on the night. Staying in the AFC, Indy got some good news today when the newly acquired Sauce Gardner cleared concussion protocol. Former Jet and 2-time All-Pro will make his debut this Sunday when the Colts take on the Falcons in Berlin, Germany. Over in Buffalo, James Cook was a limited participant during Thursday's practice. Star tailback currently recovering from an ankle injury suffered during the Bills' Week 9 win over the Chiefs. And in San Francisco, Niners quarterback Brock Purdy, a limited participant as he continues his battle back to the field from a toe injury. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensate for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Stay tuned.
You do like to grab attention.
No BS will be back in just a moment.
The Milwaukee Admirals wrap up a 4-game homestand on Friday night when they host the Rockford Ice Hogs at Panther Arena. From the far circle slot, Carr shoots, scores! Happy birthday, Daniel Carr! Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Elton John to talk about performing live.
Going on stage was when I could show off and be comfortable. And you know, I was always a bit timid off stage. And the stage gave me an outlet. And you'll find that with many performers, where they be dancers, actors, singers, musicians. They have the outlet on stage to become the person they're not off stage. And I think that's what eventually led to my troubles, along with the drugs and the drink, is that the person who was fast becoming popular as Elton John and becoming, the number one rock star in the world, had kind of escaped from the person off stage, and the balance was completely off kilter. And the more I became successful, the harder I worked, and the less time I concentrated on being normal, or trying to be kind of normal. But people who knew me privately were shocked, I think, at what I was doing off stage. Rather, they knew what I was going to do on stage. But off stage, they were shocked and disappointed.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Elton John and all your favorite artists.
You are listening to The Game.
It's the greatest story in sports.
Star dropping straight back. Hit as he throws, has the ball. It is McGee, touchdown.
I'm Doug Russell, and this is Tales from 1265, an insider's look at football's most storied franchise. A franchise that has had its dynasties.
This is the first Super Bowl trophy, and it's something Green Bay can keep. We're going to have a new trophy each year.
And its rebirths.
Every major football decision will be made by Ron Wolf.
I realize I'm a Green Bay Packer now, and maybe I can prove that I am worth the first-round pick next year, but just got to be patient.
But I was really impressed with the coaching staff, with the whole organization, and with the direction the team is going. I think they have a total commitment to winning.
Tales from 1265 is presented by Nicolay Law, your local award-winning injury lawyers. If you've been injured, get Nicolay, Wisconsin's winning team of lawyers that will get you back in the game. Tales from 1265 is a production of iHeartRadio Podcasts and is available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Music, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Message marked urgent.
We're here for you now on the NicolayLaw.com talk and text line at 1-877-794-1973.
Just inches, 16 seconds remaining. Here are the Packers. Third down, inches to go. To Pater. 17-14. Cowboys out in front. Packers trying for the go-ahead score. Starr begins the count. Takes the snap. He's got the quarterback sneak, and he's in for the touchdown, and the Packers are out in front. 20-17. There's 13 seconds showing on the clock, and the Green Bay Packers are going to be world champions, NFL champions for the third straight year.
It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I miss the rains down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do the things we never did.
Welcome back. It's No BS on the Game. Billy and Sarian with you. That's Armen Sarian. I'm Billy Schmidt. Andrew Ludwig on the other side of the glass. You'll talk to him first at 877-794-1973 when you dial us up on the NicolayLaw.com talk and text line. A lot of talk and text line messages up here already as we discuss Chris McIntosh saying yesterday that Luke Fickell will return as the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers football team. He also, before we get to some talking text line messages, Armen, spoke with Jesse Temple of Badger Connect yesterday.
Okay.
And Jesse had a couple of really good questions in this quick soundbite in terms of what constitutes success. What constitutes success in 2026 and beyond? How then do you know? Because difficult to just say, well, we're expecting 9 wins. For the folks that were not happy in the previous segment that Chris McIntosh did not announce that Luke Fickell will no longer be the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers, might not love the answer right out of the gates from McIntosh, but explains that it's more. It's more than just what the scoreboard potentially says going into 2026 that will let them know if the program's at a healthier spot.
Luke, about championship level expectations at Wisconsin for the football program. As you look forward to year 4, what does success look like to you? How will you determine whether this is a path that is working?
Yeah, I think, the priority for me is to continue to grow the program in a way that puts us in a position to achieve those expectations. That comes in many forms. It's not limited to wins and losses. There are so many factors that contribute to that, and that's where my priority is. I think, just to reiterate, I am excited about where the program can go. There is a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done. It will not be easy. It will require all of us. This is why I'm so grateful for the support that Chancellor Mnuchin has given us. The level of alignment that we have right now is at a level that I've not experienced here in my time at Wisconsin. It will require our fans and our supporters and our donors to be part of it, but it's for those reasons that I'm optimistic about our chances.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the notion that success is not always like wins. I agree with him. Like, there are other indicators
Not
of
always
success.
linear.
It's just hard when you were talking about, you define a sport. In sports, you define success with wins and losses, and ultimately that's what it's going to be defined as. And if I hear him saying, well, we want to look for success, we want to look for indicators of success beyond wins, that's tough, because I know a lot of fans don't care or don't look at anything but with the record. I mean, you're playing games, right? Now, are you graduating kids, things like that? I get it, that there's other goals there. And yeah, kids aren't getting in trouble. They're graduate. Those things are good. But the goal is going to be ultimately to win games, right? And at some point. And that's got to be the number one thing. So that's where I think a lot of people won't kind of take that part well.
As tough as it is and as important as it is to still be developing relationships and helping foster the development of young men, it's probably not going to help you right now. Probably not going to help you at this moment. And those when you say, "Hey, man, we do have a 96% graduation rate."
Yeah, those are all things important.
It's going to be very important.
But it's important in relation to winning.
But not exactly now. Those are things that you do boast and you dunk on doubly when you go 10-2 and you're fighting for a playoff spot. Like it's not going to aid you in a lot of folks having a lot of confidence rolling forward. Like Shane the Hodag asks, when you can't feel worse about Wisconsin football program, Mac does it with his actions and his words. Embarrassing. So here's my question. Why should we have any faith in Mac or Fickell that better days are ahead when we've seen nothing in the last 3 years? I would point to just a couple of things that you have seen, albeit not in terms of winning the games. You got to squint. No doubt about it, Shane. I'm not like Phil's like, stop being an apologist. I'm not apologizing. Did I say I'm sorry for any of this? No, I said this. It's bad.
Yeah,
it's as bad as it's going to get. But you're not going to get the answer that a lot of people had asked for. So now you have to deal with time and place. And what can I point to? I can point to specifically some young players that have shown a lot of promise and that they have done very, very well in a spot that is rather undervalued right now and ran really under-discussed in high school recruiting. Now, that is not going to provide you a lot of immediate results. So I think that might be, and hopefully that's what McIntosh is discussing there, where he said, not just in terms of wins and losses. How does the team fight? How does the team play? Are we in competitive games? That's where I set the benchmark here for 2025, Armen. was like, be competitive in every game. They have not been competitive in every game.
Have you lost your players? That's another question.
Have you lost the players? And are players getting better underneath you? There's still certain players that I can point to that specifically you can see are getting better. The player development with certain spots is in place. But it's been far too few and far between to point to, okay, now you're getting 6 wins, and that's where you can look at and say, this is clearly a better program right now. It's not in a better place. That was identified right there. But so what a lot of people want to know is, how much are you spending? That's going to be the easiest and quickest way to see if you're going to make the necessary steps forward. When he says alignment, and it's never been at a place that I've experienced like this at Wisconsin, that means, reading between the lines, we've never had the cash to spend like we have right now.
Sure. Or support and a commitment to it. I heard Jake Renfro say that when they heard the news he was going to not, his job wasn't in jeopardy, they were relieved. If players are relieved, that means they sort of like playing for him, I would think, or they don't want him gone. At least, I don't know if he speaks for everybody, but that's one thing you hear. Where does that come from? Well, I mean, what has he shown us? Look, Luke Fickell, what I keep going back to is, in 5 seasons at Cincinnati, he was 53-10. You can't do that by accident. You can't get lucky and go 53-10. Now, it's a difference in a Final Four appearance. It's not the same situation. It doesn't mean he's going to win here, but there's got to be some ability there to coach really well if you're getting that record. Also, he's only had his intended starting day, season opening starting quarterback for 11 of the 33 games that Wisconsin's played since the beginning of 23.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not a lot. That's just the reality of it. I don't know what the results would have been. To the point that Shane made, the actions and words. Oh, the words have been okay. I like the statement. The words are fine. It's the actions. It's the results, things like that.
I like this one from Ryan and Freeman. As he laid
it.
out last segment, wins next year don't necessarily mean the program is in a better place. They need to get the organization as a whole back on track.
Well, that's what he's talking about.
And I think that's exactly what he's saying. Like, as much as we want to go out and win 9 games next year and be playing meaningful games in November to trying to get into the playoff, we need to, the way Mike McCarthy would say, clean up our own house. Right? We need to get all of our funding in place. Yeah. We need to be doing everything possible, as somebody said on the Talking Text line, 515, Luke Fickell's not engaging with the fan base. How does that raise money? We need to be better at it. That's the cleaning up our own house. That's the part where McIntosh said Luke knows he needs to be better. I don't think it's necessarily of saying, I think we need to have a better practice plan for Wednesdays. It's we need to continually find ways to bring people to the program and not clearly pointing out the detractors and having people say them and throw them right at you and be able to have legitimate, positive conversations about it. Some of that comes from being more open about it. No doubt about it. 877-794-1973. 515 says, please name one player that has developed under the Fickell regime. Well, it's tough because I would point to Vinny Anthony's a hell of a football player, and he's going to be a really, really good football player at the next level. But my man's career high is 9 grabs because of what you indicated there, Armen. He's played like 4 games with the planned on starting quarterback going into a season.
Yeah.
That's hard to be able to show like he's clearly gotten markedly better under Fickell. But I'd point to a lot of the young players that are getting reps right now and see how they come in next year. You mentioned Renfro, how they responded to Fickell being the news yesterday. Cooper Catalano was on a publication, talked about how relieved he was. Mason Posa said it after the game against Oregon. Like, we know everybody is yelling that Fickell needs to get fired. We wanted to come out here and play inspired and show like that's our guy. That's not what we want. So again, it's all the right things. And I'm with you. I think actually more of it reads better. And the words are much better than the actions.
Sure.
But it can get better. It needs to get better. And I think this is a clear indication that, again, it is not what a lot of people wanted in an immediate change. But for those people, I would say it's the next best thing in your plan of this is a firm on the hot seat deal. In terms of how can it get better, it's clear. You gotta have some money. And you got to identify and pick the right guys. And you're going to be able to find out this year with a concerted amount of resources. Now, maybe more of the resources that he had anticipated he was going to get initially, but now you have them. Now this stuff better work, and let's go identify the exact right players that are going to find us 9 wins and change this thing around.
Yeah, Jonah in River Falls saying that in the text line. There's ability in Fick the coach, but not being able to recruit some of the best players in the country is a huge hurdle to jump. Yeah, I mean, that is it. You got to get the right guys. You got to have the money to get them, and you got to pick the right ones. So there's 2 factors there. A lot of people always assume it's just one, Billy. It's just money. But it's not. It's ability to spend it wisely, right? So there you go. Matt in Columbus, it's actually kind of refreshing to see some patience with the program in the sports world. Yeah, you don't get that much these days.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're nearing the end of this, or getting near the end of this, but when can we say this? But Paul Chris did almost 0 recruiting near the end, and there's a slight hangover from that.
It's a big part.
True, but I think he's right that you're getting the part where, okay, that can't be an excuse anymore,
Mm-hmm.
right?
This is right at the tail end of when those players would have been significant. But this would be when they were seniors, right? Juniors and seniors. This would be that final season where you ended up losing the entire school year football season recruiting cycle because you changed the regimes. Those guys would be juniors and seniors right now. That's a tough thing to be at. But as Hawkeye and Madison said, playoff, try being bowl eligible. Hawkeye, we're shooting bigger. He just said it right there.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to try to compete at the highest level. So you do have to, again, maybe this is one where we cushion a little bit more and ask for a little bit more grace. But when you do say we're ready to compete with the guys in the tops of the Big Ten, that's the highest in the country.
That is.
So that to me means playoff. He's the one that said competing for championships. So I'm with you, Hawkeye, that the first step is, hey, you're talking to the guy that the first step this year was let's be competitive in every game. They've been far from competitive in every game. Yes, bowl eligible is the first hurdle. But if they're going to put it at this is a competing for championships conversation, then you have to start the conversation somewhat there. And you have to think that those are going to be baked in to what you expect in 2026, 2027, and beyond. It's there's a lot of work to do, as Chris McIntosh said. Better grab a shovel, 877-794-1973.
And as 515 said, have a plan to replace the indoor track. And then plan the rest. Okay, there you go. Now that's a different situation. Indoor track.
Finishing the indoor practice facility would also help.
That would help. So these are process parts.
This is the infrastructure stuff that they're talking about.
It's more about just 9 wins. I'm going to disagree with that one idea, though, that getting 8 to 9 wins would not put it in a better play. I disagree. I think it'd be a much better place with that many wins. I think it'd be a much bigger improvement.
I'll tell you who would very much be enjoying that. The postgame show host.
Yeah, I think you would, Billy.
One thing I'm sick and tired of doing. Losing postgames.
I think you have to have some better shows. I think you'd have some more enjoyable shows to do.
That being said, tomorrow's show with Lance Allen.
When I say better, you know what I mean. Sorry, you do a great show.
Better.
You're
right. Better. Well, we're going to try to be better. It's going to be a good one tomorrow with Lance Allen. Kickoff comes up at 3:30 at Camp Randall in maybe some rain, maybe some snow, some Big Ten weather as we welcome the Huskies in from the University of Washington. Get into some NFL conversation as we roll on. More talking text line messages coming up. It's a football Friday. It's a good one in the good land. Packers on Monday. We got to wait all the way till Monday night not to talk some Packers football. Voice of the Green Bay Packers, Wayne Larrabee, going to be with us at 8 o'clock. It's no BS on the game.
.97.3 The Game. This is what's trending in Milwaukee now.
The Luke Fickell era in Madison isn't over. Despite college football coaches with much better records and much bigger buyouts getting fired this season, Wisconsin isn't giving in to the trend. School AD Chris McIntosh telling the team yesterday, according to ESPN, that Fickell will remain, but the bar has to be raised. The fact of the matter is that Wisconsin hasn't won a conference game in more than a calendar year. They'll play host to 23rd-ranked Washington tomorrow. Our Badgers game day coverage begins at 11:30. Kickoff is at 3:30. Coming up tonight, men's basketball at the Kohl Center against Northern Illinois. The Packers host the Eagles on Monday Night Football. Kickoff is at 7:15. And tragic news from the NFL. Dallas Cowboys defensive lineman Marshawn Nealon died by suicide after a police chase. He had reportedly expressed suicidal thoughts in recent days. I'm Doug Russell on the Game Radio Network.
Miss an hour of no BS?
Honestly, Billy, I don't think you'd miss it.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search No BS on the iHeartRadio app.
The Milwaukee Admirals wrap up a 4-game homestand on Friday night when they host the Rockford Ice Hogs at Panther Arena. From the far circle, slot, Carr, shoot, Scores! Happy birthday, Daniel Carr! Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Prince songs you've thumbed up. Number 3, Little Red Corvette.
It was Saturday night. I guess that makes it all right. You say, baby, I ain't got enough gas. Oh, yeah. Little red Corvette. Maybe I might too fast. Yes, you are.
Number 2, 1999.
2000 party over. Oops, out of time. So tonight I'm gonna party like it's 1999.
Number 1, When Doves Cry.
Baby, you're just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry.
Hear more from Prince and similar artists now. Search for Prince on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
Did you know that every 65 seconds, someone in the U.S. is developing Alzheimer's disease and 1 in 3 seniors are dying of it or another dementia? University of Wisconsin-Madison researchers are trying to improve the lives of people affected with innovative treatments, early diagnosis, and comprehensive support for families and caregivers. Together, we can improve lives and build a future with Alzheimer's disease in Wisconsin and beyond. Visit goalsforacure.org.
We call it Wagertainment.
All right, place your bets, place your bets.
VSiN every night at 6. Presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest on Fox Sports 920.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Peter Gabriel to reflect on the WOMAD Festival's evolution.
We initially started this WOMAD Festival in 1980. The first one was 82, and it was very naive enthusiasm for some of these strange and wonderful things we were hearing. And as a failed drummer, I was hearing grooves that I fell in love with, which seemed a lot more alive than what I was hearing on the radio. As a singer too, these wonderful voices, and it's still continued that way. And it's a lot more difficult, because the demise of the music business and record stores has made it extremely difficult for any minority interest label. But we work hard to focus online activities, and there is still, happy to say, a good audience, and the WOMAD Festival is, I think, like a lot of live parts of the business, actually flourishing, even though the records are not doing as well.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Peter Gabriel and all your favorite artists.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Touchdown, Wisconsin! Join us Saturday. Wisconsin returns home to host Washington. Our coverage begins at 1:30 on Milwaukee's home for Wisconsin Badger football. 95.7 Big FM.
Message marked urgent.
We're here for you now on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line at 1-877-794-1973.
No BS on the game. Billy and Sarian with you. Appreciate a lot of interaction on the talk and text line. And not surprisingly, not much of it is positive in terms of the football coach at the University of Wisconsin. Scott Nairn had a good one here. He said, UW is simply prolonging the inevitable. Now you lose another season, and then when you rehire another coach, it'll take 2 or 3 years to correct this mess. I think the interesting part from the mess conversation, Armen, and this is where I would, again, looking for places that it can get better and some positivity in that. I think the cupboard might be a tick more full in terms of players in like the high school recruiting that's coming back. But listen, everybody can leave at any given time. It doesn't matter if the coach stays or goes.
Sure.
Everybody can be a free agent at the end of the year. The player retention is just as important as the players that you're bringing in. It also is an easy time to be able to say, yeah, these guys just aren't cutting it. We need to move on. But you're seeing a lot of teams and the best programs in college football are not turning over their entire roster. Like Bill Belichick came in 70 new players.
Yeah.
And maybe the most important player is the 25-year-old that is, trying to bring Adobe Photoshop to the UNC football team. But, they've won one conference game.
Sure.
So, Phil and Merrimack, I get you. Hey, you want to keep Fickell, as he mentioned to the couple of the players, like, hey, then win a conference game. That's the easiest way to do this. No doubt about it. But you kind of need to know, and I think this is where it becomes even more important of, this was kind of decision time. D-Day ended up coming probably about yesterday because the high school recruiting cycle will open up in a month. You got to know and have all of your ducks in a row as to how much we're going to play with, how much we're going to have once we get to the portal, how many guys we want to keep from this roster. So, again, I know it's not the answer a lot of people wanted. Matt in Milwaukee, the No BS Apology Network, for their favorite coach ever. The AD has 3 years, says 3 years ago we would compete for championships. Now wins and losses don't matter. So we're going to have to way overspend to get athletes to come to this program. But a lot of people are overspending money.
That's what's going on right now. Now, the reality is just spending money, it's still a zero-sum.
It's better.
No, it's also a zero-sum game still. Like, no matter how big the money becomes or little it becomes, the same amount of teams are going to win and lose. You can't have everyone succeed in this. Someone's going to be better than others, even if you're spending money.
And
right?
that's where the question becomes. And where, as much as, I think we've clearly said it, there is a target right on the back of the head football coach. This is this stuff better work moment. But it also is for McIntosh. So the people that are asking, hey, is Chris McIntosh absolved in any of this? I would say absolutely not. That's a part of the conversation yesterday is we need to get this alignment as close as possible because he's directly tied to Luke Fickell in terms of success. And when you make that hire and you shift the program away, you are going to be right there in the crossfires. So again, I don't think it's a good year to be hiring a coach.
No.
If you are Wisconsin.
Too many openings.
I think the exact same caliber person you're going to be able to bring in comes in next year. And is that saying that we're kicking the can 2 years down the road? I think it's taking the best swing you have for success in 2026 and potentially beyond. Because you win in 2026, then you start to buy back a little bit of the good graces. But there's certain people that are going to be gone, and I understand it. You're going to have to see wins on the field to be bought back in. I think their best chance to get those wins right away is in 2026 with Fickell. But Aaron in the truck says we need to see some action from Fickell in the offensive strategy. Ohio State center Carson Hinsman said he would not play for Wisconsin because he didn't want to pass block for 4 years. Missed opportunity for one player. Who knows how many others were missed. Go out and recruit some monster offensive linemen. Bring back balance to the offense. If fans see the hustle from Fickell this offseason, I think there will be more buy-in. And Aaron, I think that's what they wanted to do this year.
Sure.
I just don't think they have the players to be able to execute it right now. But they are trying to establish more of what you're talking about. But when they went away from it a certain amount of time, it becomes more and more difficult. And it's also tough to run the football when you're down 3 scores. But I'm right there with Aaron because he said, I do believe you start to see some things go positively into the offseason. People will try to buy in, but I don't know that it's going to be jumping at anything to find some positivity at this moment.
I also think the Ohio State passes the ball. Am I going crazy right now?
Quite a bit.
They do some passing. I think Carson wanted to play at Ohio State. Yeah. Hinsman, not your son.
Well, listen, you got the opportunities. We'll see from all opportunities, or we'll talk to every institution that's interested. 877-794-1973. All right, Wayne Larrabee on the other side. Flip it to the pro game. Packers and Eagles, Monday Night Football, one of the most anticipated games on the NFL schedule. Definitely in the Week 10 schedule. We're already in Week 10 already. Week 10 already, dog. Crazy is this. Talk to Wayne Larrabee, voice of the Green Bay Packers. The Packers welcome in the Super Bowl champion Eagles on Monday night. Keys to a victory with the voice of the green and gold next on No BS.
Want to watch No BS?
We'll do anything it takes.
They're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X right now.
We have a place for it.
Just search 97.3 The Game. Billy and Armen are talking about all of your favorite teams each morning from 6 to 10 on The Game.
920 said, love the content, boys, but can we all agree that Keyshawn Nixon is not a number one corner?
Our cornerback unit, Philly as a whole might not be the greatest. I don't think we're going to ever sit around saying this was the best cornerback unit, the position group this Packers team ever had. They do battle out there. They did have some moments where we struggled, but also in a league like this where there's a lot of passing, that means there's going to be a lot of completions, and a lot of guys are going to be the recipient of a lot of L's, and the receivers.
You're
will
going to
catch
hold a
balls
lot.
on it.
Yes,
Yeah.
no doubt. You're spot on, Armen, and you could not be more accurate here. And I think corner in the National Football League, I get it. Quarterback is the most important position, toughest position, all the mental stuff that you got to go through. From a physically demanding and emotionally testing and trying position, corner is the hardest position to play in the NFL. Yes. You are going up against and trying to break up the most expensive pairings in professional sports. Despite the sport, they're going to beat you a number of different times.
Yeah.
So you're going to give up completions, no doubt about it. Now, the one to Roman Wilson, that's a big miss. Like, we can't be letting Roman Wilson get behind us and not know where we are.
Oh, yeah.
That's the issue. But I think on the down in and down out compete factor, like the touchdown to DK Metcalf, what are you supposed to do?
He's a big old boy.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search No BS on the iHeartRadio app. Drew and KB on the Game.
We're talking with Wayne Larrivee, the voice of the Packers. As the broadcaster, after having called Aaron's career and all the highlights of his career, and now he's the enemy, so to speak, and you've got Jordan Love under center. What was that like for you?
It was strange, KB. It's funny because preparing during the week and then even at the game, I'd look down on that Pittsburgh chart and have Aaron Rodgers at the top of it, and I'm thinking I'm looking at a Packers chart. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But it's a little strange, a little different. But, we saw that with Favre when he left and went to the Vikings and came back and played the Packers 4 times. And so it wasn't that big an adjustment, but it was a little strange. And to see Aaron out there playing for another team, it to me is personally, since I know him so well, it was a little disappointing in that regard. I always wanted to see him finish with the Packers.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search Drew and KB on the iHeartRadio app.
Classic Cuts.
Steve Miller wrote most of his band's hits, but one of them actually came from someone else.
Well, Jet Airliner was a song that was written by Paul Pino, who's a really great guitar player and songwriter who should have had a big-time career, but had a lot of bad luck. And we got together and worked on this song, and it's the song that we usually close the show with. The audience really loves it.
Paul Pena's Jet Airliner was in the top 10 in July of '77.
Oh, big old jet airliner, don't carry me too far away. Oh, big old jet airliner, 'cause it's here and I've got to stay. Goodbye to all my friends at home. Goodbye to people I've trusted.
Alzheimer's disease is the 6th leading cause of death in the country, and it's affecting almost 7 million Americans, including 110,000 people here in Wisconsin. UW-Madison is working hard to improve the lives of those affected, offering resources to educate and the latest in research and technology. The UW Initiative to End Alzheimer's has so many ways you can benefit, learn, get involved, and make a difference. Visit goalsforacure.org. That's goalsforacure.org.
Coming up next, Wayne Larrivee, the voice of the Packers, will join the guys.
There is your dagger.
Stay tuned.
You may not play for your favorite team, but you act like it. Whether you're at work or outside on the grill, you carry them with you. No, not with a jersey, but a mindset as you crack open that ice-cold beer. Cheesehead TV and Gathering Place Brewing bring you Carry the G, a delicious and easy drinking cream ale. But it's not just for tailgating, it's for everyday life.
Well, we carry the G wherever we may be, so creamy and cold from the land of the green and gold.
Available throughout Wisconsin. 21 plus. Drink responsibly.
This is The Game, home of No BS, DND, and Drew and KB every weekday, live on the iHeartRadio app and YouTube, Facebook, and X. Just search 97.3 The Game.
Let's go, 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 go.
Message marked urgent.
We're here for you now on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line.
Hey, I'm just trying to find some answers here.
At 1-877-794-1973.
And on 3rd down and 12, snap the love in the shotgun, steps up and rainbows
Here
again
it
down the middle.
comes. This time he's got Watson. Leaping grab. It is caught. And down he goes. 30-yard line of Carolina. They have flipped the field to Christian Watson.
That was a highlight moment at Lambeau Field in a game that, albeit didn't provide a ton of highlights, just one big low at the end of the game when the Carolina Panthers put the Packers in the L column 16-13 last Sunday at Lambeau Field. Enough on that, as the Panthers game has been put to bed, and all those 25 totes for $130 and 2 tugs that we had to watch Rico Dowdle run for against the Packers. Now, flip it to maybe the most explosive running back in pro football in Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles. Armen, did you know the Eagles get a return this weekend?
Okay, of who?
Brandon Graham.
Wow.
Brandon Graham back off the reserved retired list, if that is actually a thing, because he apparently did not submit his retirement papers, which we learned there are or aren't. He had
what is this
announced
thing about papers? Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
He had announced his retirement after the team won the championship, and Brandon Graham a couple of weeks ago re-signed with the Eagles. 15 days ago, he said Graham back for chance of a lifetime.
Well,
Philadelphia Eagles. He also basically said, yeah, I knew I was coming back at some particular point in time. I was just waiting for the right time to strike. Well, he strikes. The 37-year-old Brandon Graham got himself into his first practice a couple of weeks ago. Opportunity of a lifetime to come back into play in season 16 and play for Vic Fangio and play for a team that might win a championship. Yeah, I bet that's a pretty good time.
Did the old Ray Allen. He's in his late 30s. I'm just going to wait it out until the middle of the season. Hey, listen, those of us in our late 30s know that sometimes you just got to wait it out until the time is right.
Sometimes you just got to hold off. You got to wait out the storm. Wayne Larrivee waiting for us to get through all of that meandering and conversation to hang out with us. Packers voice, Wayne Larrivee, joins us courtesy of the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Bet Above the Rest, discount liquor, family owned and operated in Milwaukee and downtown Waukesha since 1960. Wisconsin's concrete coatings, built in Wisconsin, built to last. Wayne, appreciate the time and sorry to make you sit through that conversation about Brandon Graham, but it's interesting, man. As much as things change, the more they stay the same. My man just didn't want to put up with training camp and comes back in a good, advantageous spot where Philadelphia kind of needs some pass rush. They added another here at the deadline a couple of days ago.
Yeah, Jalen Phillips from Miami, and of course Brandon Graham the week before announced he was coming back. The Eagles are kind of struggling on the defensive side of the football in terms of generating pass rush pressure and covering in the secondary. It's interesting to see how this team just won the Super Bowl last year, lost several key players on defensive free agency, and this year has kind of been reaching and struggling. And you see Howie Roseman with all the activity before the trade deadline. Yeah. That's not how a team usually defends its Super Bowl championship. It's usually a little more stable than that, but such is life in the NFL today.
And life in Philadelphia, it feels like the team is either combusting or burning bright at any other time, right? They're either on the verge of collapse or the verge of greatness all the time, and that's the reality. But it is interesting how the twists and turns of football work, because you say the Packers now off a loss, come in with all these questions, and here come the Philadelphia Eagles, as you mentioned, defending title, but also with questions as well. But isn't that reality of life in the NFL, Wayne? Nobody's ever happy. Nobody's ever without flaws.
Yeah, until the last team standing in February. That's the only team that's not worried about anything. That's a team that apparently doesn't have any flaws. But, I got to ask you guys, this is kind of an interesting week. I don't know what you think. I think this is certainly a crossroads for the Packers, and it might be for the Eagles as well. The Eagles lost 2 games in a row. They lost at home to Denver in a close game, and they lost to the New York Giants on a Thursday night 5 nights later. And they lost to the Giants in the Meadowlands. They came back, won a big win at Minnesota where they handled the Vikings, and then blew out the Giants in that rematch, and then took a week off. So I'm kind of wondering where they're at. I think they probably turned the corner, but obviously all the moves that were made, the management didn't feel like they had a Super Bowl caliber defense. And if you look at some of the numbers, the lack of pass rush and the big plays given up defensively in the passing game, obviously they're not where they were a year ago.
No, and Wayne, it definitely feels like a game that has a chance to get pretty explosive in the pass game, because as the Packers have really struggled to get consistency on the ground. They've been nice at times. I think Josh Jacobs broke off a couple of good runs this past Sunday, but just being able to be consistent, get your 3 to 4 yards every time, they just haven't been able to put that together. Weird to say the Eagles haven't either, right? Barkley was so good a year ago, but you referenced those last 2 wins. The prevailing sentiment was maybe we let Jalen Hurts take over a little bit. He's got 7 touchdowns and no picks in those 2 games. And it seems like the Packers and Packers fans are wondering if that's the recipe for the Packers offense to get a little bit more consistent throughout a game, is putting the ball in Jordan Love's hands. So it feels like on a colder night on Monday night, it might be the 2 quarterbacks that are the ones taking center stage.
Yeah, very well could be. Both running games have been inconsistent, to say the least. The Eagles have been a little better than the Packers. But Billy, in looking at this game, Vegas put a 2.5 point
number and spread. Yep.
Number on this game in favor of the Packers. Okay. So if you take the Packers, you're giving 2.5 points to the Philadelphia Eagles. Take us inside why that line was made.
I think the biggest one is the one that you hit on first. You think the Philadelphia Eagles, and you think that they are defending the pass, that Cooper DeJean is coming over and taking the ball away. Quinyon Mitchell's locking people up on the outside, and they're getting a consistent pressure with 4. According to Next Gen Stats, Wayne, I mean, their pressure rate on defense is middle of the road. And with some of the players that they had last year, and the way they won the Super Bowl was getting pressure with 4. It was why every team wanted to do the exact same thing this offseason. And it seems like what was their calling card a year ago, they just haven't been able to do this year.
Yeah, you know what? You're very, very true about that. But I also wonder about Vegas lines. Does Vegas believe the Packers are going to win this game by 2.5 points? Or is Vegas trying to get money on the Packers?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Or money on the Eagles? That's when these lines come up and people have this fallacy that, oh, Vegas knows, and then once in a while the line holds up and it's exact and everyone's like, see, they know in Vegas what's going to happen. They have no clue. And these lines you read every week are there for a purpose, and they're there to drive money one way or the other, or for Vegas's purposes, both ways.
Well, that's true, right? And you always would talk about that. It's designed to get equal money, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's a prediction of what's going on. You're right, though, too, Wayne.
I'm trying to get
confirmation bias on that.
And I'm trying to get a piece of the pie in terms of how many people right now where the money would be coming into. Because, Wayne, that would then indicate if there's a lot of money early coming in on the Packers, they're going to keep it right there. John Ewing of BetMGM said, it's the first time Philly has been an underdog this season. They went 4-0 as a dog straight up a year ago. And it might be exactly that, to try to get money in on Philadelphia off the Packers loss, because they very much might like the Packers in this spot. The opportunity to roll at home a little bit and put to bed the game last week where they clearly had a stinker off the emotional game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, all those things are probably true, but we started with this. I started talking about a crossroads. I'm not sure it's a crossroads for Philly. This game is definitely a crossroads for the Packers, in my opinion. Where they go from here may be determined by what they do on Monday night. That's the big thing as I see it. They have a tendency, as people have said, to play down their competition. Well, they're not playing down to any competition in this game. The Eagles are, believe me, they may not have the numbers. They may not look like it right now, but come January, they will be a force in the NFC playoffs. There's no question in my mind. So the Packers will have to play up to the Eagles, in my opinion, Monday night. Are they equal to the task? We're going to find out. And I think how this game goes may determine the rest of the season.
Does it feel like to you that there has been a team that separated themselves in the NFC, or is this as clumped up at the top as we've seen in a while, Wayne, midseason?
Yeah, I really think it's clumped up at the top. I think there are a lot of good teams. The Packers and Eagles are 2 of them. Tampa Bay is another team. that has had some ups and downs, but has been good most of the time. I just think the NFC is really competitive, and the teams are very similar in many respects. So this will be an interesting race as we head toward December.
Especially Armen, because they all run such similar offenses.
That's it.
So many of the coaches and coordinators come from the same spot.
It's a lot of similarities, a lot of strategy, incestuous strategies, and things like that, which makes it interesting.
Love that word.
And it's I know it's something else, huh? The also what makes it interesting this week is it's sort of a new look a defense in some ways for Philadelphia, right? With some of the trades they made, right? And one of those guys is the continuing saga of Jair Alexander, who seems to always somehow come and be part of this situation here in Green Bay. So the Eagles trade for Jair Alexander, who had been a healthy scratch. Do you think they're going to, get him involved here? Would this be the week to do it? Or is it a little early for that? Is there still an unknown with him, in addition to Michael Carter and Jillian Phillips, the guys they picked up in the trade deadline?
Yeah, Phillips, the pass rusher. Carter's the better of the two cornerbacks they got. He's the guy they really wanted. Jair Alexander was maybe insurance. Maybe Howie Roseman said, well, we'll see. We'll kick the tires on this guy and see what he's got left. Will they get him up for Green Bay? I don't know, because I don't know his health status, but I think, as you mentioned, Armen, he was a healthy scratch at Baltimore the last couple of weeks. And if he's healthy in this game, I don't think there's any question that the Eagles will activate him. The biggest question will be, will he jump out as a captain?
Well, right.
That would be awesome. Coach knows I played in Green Bay. Coach knows I'm coming back to Green Bay. They're all good with it. And maybe he'll say we want to play defense.
Maybe he will.
All twice.
That's the thing with Jair. You have zero semblance of knowing what's going to happen with him. It's totally unknown, right? He could come out and have a huge revenge game. I could see him doing something crazy like that, or come out for the coin toss, or just not play at all.
Or not play at all and be a healthy scratch and just have the towel underneath the hoodie on the sidelines. Could be a possibility. What about the pass game for the Eagles, Wayne? Hurts has been a lot better as of late. A.J. Brown seems like he's always upset, but their production has been a lot better as of late, and I would anticipate that they're going to try to be throwing the ball a ton this week.
A.J. Brown should be back. Their big physical receiver, Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts, have been very good all season long. The running game has been spotty. It looked like they got, something going against the Giants, but that was the Giants. They're not a great run defense anyway. So it'll be interesting to see if they do, as you suggested earlier, Billy, put this game more in Jalen Hurts' hands. He's had an outstanding year. Just one interception. The tape I've looked at, I've seen their last three games. He just looks spot on every single time he goes back to pass. So I think that's kind of how this game will go. But if I'm Philadelphia also, if I'm them, I start with running the ball just to see what I can get on the ground and then work the passing game in. But these two receivers, and I was trying to think, Cincinnati had a great tandem of receivers that the Packers faced earlier. These guys, when they're on, fellas, are every bit as good as the Cincinnati duo. Brown and Smith are two number one receivers. This is going to be really interesting to see how the Packers play this.
Yeah, and they're both so different. One is the biggest son of a gun you'll see out there at 230 pounds, and the other one can run right by you in Smith and route everybody up. There's some good tandems that we're going to see in the NFC, no doubt about it. Wayne, we know you got to go. We can't thank you enough for hanging out with us here today. Go into the weekend, enjoy it. I was trying to see, are there any good races that we're missing coming up this weekend, or are all the ponies pretty much done until we hit up into the spring for the best kind of competitiveness?
The big ponies are done. Breeders' Cup is finished, and so we're in off-season in thoroughbred horse racing.
Well, this is where you start. This is where champions
This is where
are
the
made.
work is done.
This is where the work
Yeah.
is done.
Yeah, this is it.
We appreciate it, Wayne. We'll see you up there on Monday.
You got it, guys. Take care.
There he is, Wayne Larrabee, voice of the Green Bay Packers, hanging out with us here. Potawatomi Sportsbook, bet above the rest. Discount liquor, family owned and operated in Milwaukee and downtown Waukesha since 1960. And Wisconsin Concrete Coatings, built in Wisconsin, built to last.
Yeah, Billy, we were talking about Penn Entertainment this week and their involvement with ESPN and ESPN Bets. And I was doing some reading up on it, and they started as a parimutuel wagering thoroughbred horse racing deal. So there you go. So it's always
started with the ponies.
Started with the ponies. Pitt Park Raceway, formed by several Erie area businessmen. Look what it became. So yeah, it's always if there are horses running, Wayne's got an eye on them somewhere,
And if there are horses racing in the state of Wisconsin, and you need somebody to announce it, please let me know because I want to try.
That would be probably
one of the most difficult but most exciting 90 seconds of your life.
Difficult, but exciting and probably most satisfying to be able to call one of those horse races.
That's what Paul Allen of K-Fan
sure.
and the Minnesota Vikings, that's what he did, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got in with horse
Still
racing.
does.
That's awesome.
Imagine the intensity and pressure of knowing you have a 90-second call or 2-minute call.
Amazing.
And that's it.
I can only last 2 minutes, so it's perfect.
Yeah. There you go.
877-794-1973. We'll get back into the conversation at the college football level. Good games coming up this weekend, important games coming up this weekend. But what about the arms race in the NFC North? We talked about it a little bit with the Packers game coming up on Monday. We know that is the main event of the NFL weekend. What else does the slate provide? We'll look into it, tap around, fire on some projections, and fire in a parlay of the day. Far from finished, just finished halftime. On a football Friday, it's a beautiful time to be in the good land. It's no BS on the game.
It's better that we keep this close, keep you close to me. Walking under every sky, over every sea.
Miss an hour of No BS?
Honestly, Billy, I don't think you'd miss it.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search No BS on the iHeartRadio app.
My eyeballs like a replay.
Classic Cuts.
Nobody has a perfect record in guessing which songs are going to click with the public. Eddie Money and his first label had a difference of opinion about which number to release as a single. Turns out they were both right.
It took me 6 months to write 2 Tickets to Paradise. And when I went with Columbia Records, for some reason, they didn't think it was commercial enough. So me and my guitar player, Jimmy Lyon, we wrote Baby Hold On in 2 days. And that was the first single. And of course, 2 Tickets to Paradise was the second single.
I've got 2 tickets to paradise. Won't you pack your bags with me tonight? I've got 2 tickets to paradise. I've got 2 tickets to paradise.
It's the greatest story in sports.
Star dropping straight back. Hit as he throws, has the ball. It is a touchdown.
I'm Doug Russell, and this is Tales from 1265, an insider's look at football's most storied franchise. A franchise that has had its dynasties.
This is the first Super Bowl trophy, and it's something Green Bay can keep. We're going to have a new trophy each year.
And its rebirths.
Every major football decision will be made by Ron Wolf.
I realize I'm a Green Bay Packer now, and maybe I can prove that I am worth the first-round pick next year, but just got to be patient.
But I was really impressed with the coaching staff, with the whole organization, and with the direction the team is going. I think they have a total commitment to winning.
Tales from 1265 is presented by Nicolay Law, your local award-winning injury lawyers. If you've been injured, get Nicolay, Wisconsin's winning team of lawyers that will get you back in the game. Tales from 1265 is a production of iHeartRadio Podcasts and is available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Music, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Rod Stewart to discuss how different his recording process has become over the years.
Oh, it was the whole process was absolute fun. And, because in the old days when we used to make albums, in the 80s and the early 90s, we'd all go into the pub for about 3 hours and get blind drunk and then go into the studio and try and make music. Invariably, when you listen back to it the next day, it was totally useless. So it just took up so much time of being in the studio, and away from your family and everything. But the way we did this, there were months where I wouldn't see Kevin, and we'd just do it through the computers. He'd send me over, a chord sequence. I'd try and fit some lyrics to it, send it back to him, then he'd send it back to me. Then we only went into the studio a few times to put some real drums on and do the vocals. Otherwise, it was all done at Kevin's house and my house, which is wonderful with Pro Tools.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Rod Stewart and all your favorite artists.
Great job bouncing out by Josh Jacobs.
Here we go, 3rd down, goal to go with the 1. Give Jacobs diving into the end zone, and a touchdown. It's a pushing and shoving going on afterward.
After review, the ruling is touchdown.
The Milwaukee Admirals wrap up a 4-game homestand on Friday night when they host the Rockford Ice Hogs at Panther Arena. From the far circle, slot, Carr, shoot, Scores! Happy birthday, Daniel Carr! Pre-game coverage at 6:30. Face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Miss a second of today's show?
Yes!
Well, good news. Right after the show, the podcast will be up.
Nice!
Just search 97.3 The Game wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to follow, rate, and review it wherever you get your podcasts.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Rick Springfield to talk about how he thinks music has changed over the years.
Oh, I think music has, it's either music or it's not, but it's split into so many categories. Actually, it was Clockwork Orange, the writer of Clockwork Orange. His name escapes me right now, but he's an awesome writer. He wrote about that in the 60s, that music was going to fragment, and 14-year-olds wouldn't like 15-year-old music, and 15-year-olds wouldn't like 16-year-old music, and it's really kind of how it's come down.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from Rick Springfield and all your favorite artists.
Martin down on one knee, arm extended. Snap, placement. The kick is up, and it is good.
Oh.
And the Panthers have won.
Touchdown, Wisconsin! Join us Saturday. Wisconsin returns home to host Washington. Our coverage begins at 1:30
on Milwaukee's home for Wisconsin Badger football. 95.7 Big FM.
Message marked urgent.
We're here for you now on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line at 1-877-794-1973.
Well, I got to tell you, it's just occurred to me what the student body has been chanting for the last 2 or 3 minutes. It's the name Ruben. Dan Ruben, a walk-on senior, subject feature article in yesterday's student newspaper, The Observer. After toiling for 2 years in Carnegie Field and go get it, kid!
Bringing us back with some Rudy on No BS on the Game. Armen Sarian. That one of your favorite sports movies?
Are you kidding me? I mean, right up my alley. And not because I was like a Notre Dame guy or anything like that. I really wasn't growing up. I didn't become that. But, Rudy's one of those movies that kind of will start making you fall in love with certain things. Now, I'm not a Notre Dame fan by any stretch, but I am a fan of underdog stories. I'm a fan of being a walk-on and making a team when no one thought you could. So I'm not going to say I looked at myself as Rudy, but I kind of had to realize at a certain point in my athletic career that I had to be that guy. Like that was going to be my,
that was my pathway to success.
Making a team was going to be the top of my, the top of the heap for me. And it started in 7th grade when I got cut from the basketball team. Aww. That was tough. I didn't know they made cuts in 7th grade basketball.
Yeah, make cuts.
Mr. Tilley. All right. And then 8th grade as well. Then I was like, you know what? There's a freshman team in high school, right? I'm going to make that team. That's my goal.
That's my
shot.
So
I worked out. I mean, all summer we were working. I remember this was like
Mike and drills left and right.
Summer of 90, my freshman 99, 98, 99. I mean, I'm working with Logan and Panzarella and Butts. We're playing every day in the summer. Tryouts come that day in the fall where tryouts come for basketball. All night we're working. We're doing hallways. We're running up and down the halls of Greenfield High School, the original, in the Hawk Dome, the old gym.
All
yes. Right.
And it was a dome.
And there it was. The word started coming out around the hallways. Armen, the list came out. You're on the list. I made the team. I was on the list. I was number 15 out of 15 on that list. That was a great feeling to make that team. That feeling lasted until our first practice when our coach said, I got a role in mind for you, Armen, and it's the manager. And that's why I got you on this list. This is a real story, guys. So that's how I made the team as the Now, I'm going to say this. I did suit up with the team for our last tournament, their last games or whatever.
Yep.
So
and you almost got in that day because he did say we're going to get Armen in the game.
It was the plan. That was the plan. I practiced with the team every day.
Sometimes plans change.
So I was like Rudy that year. I made the team sort of. Made the team. Practiced every day with the team.
Yep.
And I was able to I got a little burn 30 seconds in because it was a 4-game tournament.
Yes.
So there were in the third game or the second game, I got like 30 seconds of burn.
Let's go.
I fouled the kid. That was a good feeling.
Got yourself in the stat sheet.
In the book.
Write it down.
I appreciate that experience because I did feel like I accomplished my goal, at least somewhat.
Well, you did. You were on the squad.
Yeah, I mean, it was a word around the hallway that Armen made the team. It was exciting.
Everybody had to have been juiced.
Johnny Logan was
Those
right
are the
there.
kind of guys you want on the team.
That's the
Now,
kind of guys.
Program
guys.
I had somewhat of a similar situation in high school when I was gonna make the Whitnall golf team as a junior.
I was gonna say they were eyeing kids like you for the football team. They were salivating about boys like you. They weren't wondering. You weren't wondering if you were making that team. Come on.
I'll tell you what team I knew I wasn't making was the basketball team. But as I was trying to find different things, I wanted to be on the golf team. Played some JV golf, brutal at it. Try out for the varsity team. Mr. Scott Carter, rest his soul. One of my favorite teachers of all time. Sits down. Billy, I'd like you to come in my office quick. Talk about this. Me on the team. Here's the thing, and Mr. Carter had a very unique delivery.
Okay.
And he liked to talk with his hands in a rhythm. There was a good flow to his history profession.
Oh, boy.
And his stories during class as you try to find different ways. He was an awesome guy.
This is great pacing. Yeah.
One of my favorites.
He held you there with the pauses.
Dude, he knew a little bit of my timing sometimes.
It's okay.
I think back to Scott Carter as the way that sometimes a little bit of pause can build some dramatic effect. He was phenomenal at it. So he sits me down, and he had this really big stomach sometimes that like he would be able to kind of rest almost like a perch. And he sat back and he goes, Billy, I got to tell you about something, and I don't know exactly how you're going to take this, but I hope you know it comes from a great place. A place of love, respect, and frankly, a really good opportunity.
Okay.
Where I think you're going to be on this golf team if you want to be. Now, we have 8 guys, 8 roster spots, 8 spots for the roster. And we'll play 6 in every tournament. I can't guarantee you're going to play in any tournament. But I will tell you, if you play on the team, you come to practice every day, good attitude, which I know you already have, Billy. You're a great attitude. I love having you in class. One of my favorites in class. Have a good attitude, good work ethic. I'll take you from a 55 golfer to a 45 golfer.
I'll make you better.
I'll make you better, and you will get better. I just don't know if you're going to play in anything. And now where we have 2 different types of dynamics in life.
Right.
You have Armen Sarian that sees that as a tremendous opportunity to grow, hang out with the boys, improve.
Yeah, play.
I found it as a great opportunity to say, well, Coach, I really appreciate it.
I need free time.
I'm going to go do anything else in my free time. And I quit. So that shows that there are 2 different types of people. You want to be an Armen Sarian. You want to find the good in that moment. You don't want to be like me and just say, all right, I'll see you guys later.
And I'll
guess what? I gained 10 strokes on my golf game, Armen, instead of lost 10 strokes on my golf game.
That's what happens when you don't take his advice. And I'll be honest, part of it is how much you love the individual sport. Like, I don't think I would have grinded it out for golf and stuff like that. Now, I love basketball. So I was like willing to practice with the team every day and do all these things. And I'll be honest with you, Billy, I kind of try to tell myself, this is you made the team. So I looked at it that way. And you might not have looked at it that way, which is fine. But I looked at it that way as I'm also a lot of my friends were on the team.
Yes.
I wanted to be around the program, around my friends. I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to have that polo shirt that said, Greenfield
High School. Come on now.
I'll be honest with you, Billy. I wanted to guilt coaching to give me that letter. I wanted that letter.
Wanted that tag.
Eventually, I got a letter. So, Billy, they're worried, but you had to have a little bit of love for the game. I'm not sure you had the love for golf that I had that for basketball.
Now, I will say, yeah, you're spot on that one.
You got to love the game.
What I did have a love for was finding a way to, goof off for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy.
JV golf was a phenomenal way to goof off for an hour and a half. Play at the driving range. Maybe find yourself over at the ice cream bar. Ate a lot of ice creams during those practices. Not as many driver shots and 3-wood hits as probably we should have. Or worked on the short game as much as we would have. Mike in Milwaukee knows exactly what he said. How many arm shakes did Mr. Carter bust out in that conversation? Mike, hundreds. He's the best. Oh, man. Huge Badger basketball fan. Season ticket holder, actually, for the Badger basketball team. He would love being able to see how efficient Greg Gard is with his roster.
Yeah.
He would like to be watching some of this basketball team. I'll say, are you, I know you're excited. I sadly will not be able to see a ton of the basketball here tonight.
Sure.
Bucks and Bulls NBA Cup. sweet court for everybody in the Milwaukee area that's going to be going.
Pretty cool.
Badgers and Huskies tonight. I'll be at the arena for the Milwaukee Admirals game here tonight.
Yes, you're working tonight.
But good hoops here tonight on a Friday.
Yeah, and we'll be, obviously at home we're busy right now. We got some stuff going on this weekend with the move, but going to try and catch the Bucks Bulls. That's a big one in our household. We were thinking about going, but obviously we just thought we'd be too busy tonight to go. But we're eyeing that game in February, I want to say.
Can't be very happy about that. This feels like a game that Lara would have been dialed in on trying to go to.
She wants us to listen. And like I'm sitting here saying I don't want to go. Like Bucks Bulls is always something we try and go to, either here or in the United Center. And we wanted to take Lena to her first Bucks game. Haven't had the chance yet just because she was a baby and went. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Thought that'd be a good one. So we'll get there eventually. I told her we'll get there eventually. I always prefer to go to Fiserv Forum than the United Center for multiple reasons. Fiserv, better facility, better ticket prices, shorter ride, better concessions, better fans there. Don't have a Jordan statue, but I can get over that.
That's the box.
Like there are things you can get over. There are things you can't get over. Parking's the same price.
Pricing probably the same. Yep.
Parking price is the same.
Well, there are street parking options down by Fiserv Forum. You just got to walk like 6 blocks.
With the 1-year-old probably.
That's the tough thing. And let me tell you something. I've used those low these many years. I had my little secret street parking spots. A lot of times I use for a lot of Bradley Center / Fiserv.
You parked over by AJ Bombers. Rest in peace.
You know about AJ Bombers. You know about that little parking lot. You know the old Blast Fitness. Well, whatever. I don't want to give my secrets away.
Sure.
But I've done that, Luddy, and you're absolutely right. But Bucks Bulls will be a fun one tonight, and a Bulls team that's had a good start to the year, unexpectedly for some, kind of surprising. Josh Giddey, I guess he's feeling more unburdened these days, and he's having a great year. He one of those guys. So it'll be a good night of hoops. Badgers a huge favorite. They're going to take care of business tonight. I'm 99.9% sure of it. They're 28.5-point favorites.
Well, ESPN prediction model, their analytics give it a 98.9% chance.
Oh, there you go. So I'm going out on a limb.
You're really going out on a limb.
So,
but after John Blackwell drops 31 in game one, I mean, like you start to, and we talked about it a little bit with Matt LePay earlier on this week, where if you start identifying how different all of these rosters are and teams are, the Badgers having 2 core players back, all with the litany of different players that are going to be impact guys on the roster.
Yeah, that's the thing, Billy. The transfers, too.
The transfers on top of having Winter and Blackwell as 2 of your primary scorers and primary players, that's a great backbone to welcome in the rest of those guys into.
And it really looks like Greg Gard has set up himself a formula for success in this new era. It's been working for him. You have stalwarts returning and a foundation of a program culture you talk about. They're doing it right, Billy. They have those guys, obviously Blackwell, Nolan Winter, and then you bring in the transfers every year, and then you kind of bring in that one transfer who you think's going to be the right guy. It was Storr for a while. It was obviously Tanjay, and I think Nick Boyd's that guy, Billy, a veteran guy, played a lot. I think he was at I know he was at San Diego State. I want to say before that he was at FGCU. I can't exactly remember. He was somewhere else before that, but a guy that's done a lot in college basketball.
FAU. Yep.
FAU.
Yep. Florida Atlantic.
Old guy, experienced guy, a big, strong guard, can score, good assist numbers, can shoot. And it looks like Nick Boyd can slide right into that role as the impact transfer. You don't expect every year for your transfer to be, if John Tanjay's production was great.
Yes.
And it's hard to expect that every year. So I don't want to say he's going to be first team All-American, but that seems to be the next guy there that can kind of carry on that mantle and kind of keep this cycle going of what Greg Gard has going. And that's the guy you're really excited about, I think. So Nick Boyd, keep your eye out for him. Obviously, Rhodey is another one there, Billy. So there's a bunch of guys. Bill Lazowskis, not sure what his situation is going to be. He didn't get a lot of minutes, but that's the nice thing about this part of the season. You learn, you grow, and then some exciting non-conference matchups coming up before the Big Ten season. So
Boyd really is a fascinating one. As somebody that's played and seen just about every moment you can have in the NCAA, right? Yes. Going all the way to the NCAA championship or going to the Final Four with FAU a number of years ago, and then going and playing for the team that you played in the Final Four.
How about that? It's just crazy.
Hilarious story, but he does seem like that impact guy that has gotten better and more opportunity every single year of his college career, and very excited for it. So listen, you probably don't learn a whole lot tonight, But just don't be Bruce Pearl's son in Auburn and get yourself into a battle with like Bethune-Cookman or Northern Illinois here tonight, and you're all good.
But there's an excitement about that, and what Blackwell's doing, obviously, or what he can do. You really look at yourself and say, okay, we got a 1-2 punch in the backcourt, and we might have a inside stalwart in Nolan Winter. So there's pieces to work with, and there's a reason this is a top 25 team right now. They're ranked 24. Billy, but there's a lot of reason to believe that when Greg Gard gets his hands and molds and spreads his pixie dust and all these guys, they can continue to improve and really be a factor come March. So a lot of excitement for what he's doing. We've talked so much about the struggles in the football program. Greg Gard has carried the flag. He's carried the mantle. He's got everything on his back right now, and he's doing great things there at the Kohl Center.
Well, and that's where we did get a question coming in earlier on where like Ryan and Freedom said, I don't know how this is really a Macintosh problem. Just about every other program for UW is top 25 in their sport, except for football and women's basketball. So the entirety of the athletic program is important. For what Gard has been able to do year in and year out, bringing in resources, supplementing their resources, and then identifying the right talent hidden, man, it's awesome. It really is impressive. And then you get a guy that was on the fringe of going to the NBA to come back and be a part of it and be one of your leaders on the team. That's a dangerous combination for a young team and a evolving team that has brought in a lot of different pieces. We had an individual who might know a lot about the recruiting inside, might have a microphone on a couple of these last couple. He's mentioned the Carson Hinsman story that we had. He was actually a part of the Ohio State 2022 class. That was before Luke Fickell was hired at the UW at University of Wisconsin. We had the mention of the center for Ohio State didn't want to come because of Luke Fickell. Well, that wouldn't have necessarily mattered because he would have turned down Cincinnati at the time to not play for Luke Fickell. 877-794-1973. A lot more talk and text line messages. We got a lot of good ones coming in here already. And also good opportunity to look around the rest of the NFL because even though the best game is on Monday night, we got to wait all the way for it. Armin, I got a story from a Chicago Bears father that is causing some consternation in Chicago.
Interesting.
That coming up.
Pop's always getting involved, man. Pop's always getting involved. It's always a dangerous thing,
Gotta get themselves into it. A big battle in the NFC North as Baltimore travels to Minnesota. The Lions try to get their lick back on Washington after their playoff exit in a game in the NFC West that might have massive playoff implications. We'll get into all of it coming up. It's no BS on the game.
Easy come, easy go, little high, little low. 97.3 The Game. This is what's trending in Milwaukee now.
Luke Fickell is sticking around. Wisconsin Athletic Director Chris McIntosh telling the team the news yesterday. McIntosh was also interviewed by Badger Connect's Jesse Temple. In tweeted out comments, McIntosh told Temple,
the priority for me is to continue to grow the program in a way that puts us in a position to achieve those expectations. That comes in many forms. It's not limited to wins and losses. There are so many factors that contribute to that, and that's where my priority is.
The Badgers host number 23 Washington tomorrow. Kickoff is at 3:30. Coming up tonight, Wisconsin men's basketball at the Kohl Center against Northern Illinois. Men's hockey at number 2 Michigan. And Week 10 in the NFL began last night in Denver. The Broncos beat the Raiders 10-7. I'm Doug Russell on the Game Radio Network.
Drew and KB are talking sports and stuff every weekday from 2 to 6.
Christian Watson's return to the field for the Green Bay Packers, obviously a huge story, and it's a huge story here in Drew and KB land because it means that we get to say hi to Christian's mom, Krista Lynn, our returning champion. What was it like for Wisconsin's favorite sports mom to watch her son return to the field after 9 months of grueling rehab and isolation and self-doubts, and to see him just frolic on the field like he was never hurt?
I'm going to be really honest. For the first time in my mom career, I was very nervous and anxious, and I'm not really that kind of a person often, but there was just so much leading up to this. And I mean, even after I talked to him on the phone yesterday, I called him before they were leaving the hotel and to head over to the stadium. And I was like, how are you going to get through knocking the cobwebs off? I mean, that's really what it is. There's literally nothing like an actual game or a game time situation that you can simulate. You know what I mean? With other guys coming at you at full speed, they want to hurt you. They want to take you out. How are you going to get through that? And he was like, just being really honest, Mom, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to do me.
I mean, that's fantastic. It doesn't matter. You would have that same conversation with him if he was in Pop Warner football and as a professional. That's just mom stuff, and that's great.
You can find all of the shows in podcast form. Just search Drew and KB on the iHeartRadio app.
Hey there, people. This is Mark Maron, and I host the podcast WTF with Mark Maron, which is available on iHeartRadio. Honestly, I think we could all listen to each other a little bit more, and I think it's a healthy thing. I listen to all sorts of people, comedians, actors, musicians, directors, writers, even a president. They come into my garage, and we have a conversation about all the big stuff in life. Go check it out, WTF with Mark Maron, right here on iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Daryl Hall to ask how the concept of his show Daryl's House made it to television.
You'd think that would be a simple idea to communicate to television, but it was absolutely impossible. So that's why I went on the internet in the beginning. And then I said, see, this is what I do. Here it is. And once you show it to people, then they go, okay, now we're going to put it on television.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Daryl Hall and all your favorite artists.
You are listening to The Game.
On the latest Tales from 1265, we dive into how the first Hall of Fame for an individual team came to fruition and the most unique story in all of sports.
They go further in the red, but then community leaders decided to have that first stock sale.
I'm Doug Russell. Join me for Tales from 1265 on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Tales from 1265 is presented by Nicolay Law, Wisconsin's winning team of lawyers that will get you back in the game.
The entire world watched.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And humanity saw that the sky was not the limit. Achievement, pass it on, from the foundation for a better life.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
You may not play for your favorite team, but you act like it. Whether you're at work or outside on the grill, you carry them with you. No, not with a jersey, but a mindset as you crack open that ice-cold beer. Cheesehead TV and Gathering Place Brewing bring you Carry the G, a delicious and easy drinking cream ale. But it's not just for tailgating, it's for everyday life.
Well, we carry the G wherever we may be, so creamy and cold. Land of the green and gold.
Available throughout Wisconsin. 21 plus. Drink responsibly.
Want to watch the shows? You can watch your favorite personalities talk about your favorite teams on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Just search 97.3 The Game.
Message marked urgent.
We're here for you now on the NicolayLaw.com talk and text line.
Hey, I'm just trying to find some answers here.
At 1-877-794-1973.
This speech is my recital. I think it's very vital to rock around. That's right. On time. It's tricky. Here we go. It's tricky to rock around. To rock around. That's right. On time. It's tricky. It's tricky. 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 It's tricky to rock around. To rock around. That's right. On time. It's tricky. Tricky. I met this little
No BS on the game. Billy and Sarian with you. Meant to get into this in the previous segment when Armen and I started talking some Rudy and getting into old sports stories
about making teams.
How about the reverse Rudy? You ready for an upset coming up for the Golden Domers this weekend?
The reverse Rudy, so they get upset.
They get upset.
Yeah, you think so?
By the Naval Academy,
think so?
26.5-point favorites.
You saying they're gonna get covered by, or they gonna lose outright?
No, I'm asking you.
I don't think so. But the academies have always been difficult to play against.
They shorten the game. It's a different kind of animal.
Number
It's
one
tough to prep
rushing
for.
offense in college football in the Naval Academy this year.
Okay, but
granted, they generally are. They're also 138th, I believe, in college football in passing offense.
Let me ask you this though, Billy, because admittedly, I haven't watched a lot of Navy this year. Wow. Do they still run that wild triple option?
Blake Horvath is doing it, brother.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're running it.
That's
My man
tough to
is
scout.
all over the place.
That's tough to play against. It's tough for your scout team, I would imagine, right?
I mean, at some points, you might go look at a linebacker and go, oh, you ran this offense in high school. You're probably a better quarterback this week during the scout team than possibly an actual quarterback.
And that's
because
not-
it's so different from just dropping back or just handing the ball off.
And those are the games that probably feel like pulling teeth for a defense because it's never fun. You have to totally change your mind of thinking. It's absolutely like a trip to the dentist.
Billy, I know you may have done this. Armen, when you have triple option, you need to tackle everybody at times.
That's
like
crazy.
you literally need to tackle. That was what we taught even at the college level when we would prep for teams like this. Concordia Moorhead, D3 school. The first year we played them at Whitewater in 2017, we were not ready for that. And in 2018, we were able to flip it around a little bit and get after them. But it's a tough offense for sure.
I just never heard of
but that is a great use of the pause button. I am so proud.
Thank you. Even though I was late
that
on
was arguably your best use of the pause button of all time.
Only because I didn't totally mess it up.
Minnesota Moorhead.
Concordia.
Yeah, it was Concordia Moorhead. Now, Navy, would you think that realistically they can knock them off? I mean, is this a thing that might happen, Billy?
Last year I called it for like 3 weeks. I really wish I could. I would love. You don't understand how much I would love to watch the Naval Academy go in and beat the Golden Domers this weekend. How awesome would that be?
Oh, I mean, it'd be awesome. It'd be huge. And it'd be a plus 1,400 if you get it right.
It would be a plus 1,400 at the Potawatomi Sportsbook if you bet big, bet bold, bet above the rest. That's a very, very bold investment right there.
You're giving me a tip like that, Billy. That is a bold investment.
That would be a bold investment.
But 26.5 is a big number to cover. I would think the Redwood. Maybe they can chop it down.
I believe it was a similar number last year. I think they won like 52-14. So like it is tough. You're going to Notre Dame Stadium. That's a hellhole. That's a tough place to play.
Sure, but you might catch them sleeping, right?
It might be a hellhole for you because Jesus Christ is on the side of the Golden Domers.
Yeah,
even though America might be on the side of the visiting sideline.
It's the flip side, yeah.
God is on the side of the home team. That's gonna be a tough one. That's gonna be a tough one to win, even though we love both. 877-794-1973. LSU goes to Alabama this weekend. That should be a fun one. I wonder with the new coach bump, if maybe you also can get a retained coach bump for the Wisconsin Badgers this weekend.
Maybe. I would think so. That there could be something there, a little bit of, at least for the team, relaxed and a little breath of fresh air. Maybe for Fickle too. Not sure. I expect them to come out and play hard, Billy. They generally have this year.
Yeah,
I haven't seen visual signs of quitting. I mean, it's hard to kind of,
especially that Oregon game.
It's kind of predict effort, like only inside the player. Do you deep down know if you're quitting or not, right? Because sometimes it's a talent issue. But Washington's a better team. There's no doubt about it. But I expect them to go out and play hard enough. The problem has been scoring points for the Badgers.
Yeah,
and that's been the struggle. So new coach bump maybe, or retained coach bump. LSU might get the new coach bump, might be pretty interesting. And a lot of that comes from sometimes the emotion, the mood, and the tenor of the fan base.
Entire building.
The entire building, the whole like refreshed energy type of thing.
Like Auburn goes to Vanderbilt. They're catching 6.5. And Vandy is right now on the outside looking in. If they win and handle their business, they probably are a fringe playoff team. I don't think it's completely out of the question that they make it, but like this could be a spot where Auburn has a totally different relaxed feel because Hugh Freeze is gone. Now they can thaw out a little bit as they get ready to go into their coaching search and find somebody, or they get blown out again. They scored 3 points at home last week, but you're right. It's consistently finding offense, and got to score more than 2 touchdowns in a month. If you're going to win many games in this conference.
That would help. However, if you just get 3, you just surpass your month total.
There we go. That's true. You can do it very, very quickly. You can do that in the first half.
And human nature can have a play in some of these games, right? I mean, Indiana's going to Penn State, and Penn State's had problems. They obviously let their coach go, but it's still Happy Valley. I mean, it's still, a lot of guys over there that were really talented guys that had a lot of stars behind their names in high school. So, maybe they have that relaxed feel as well. Maybe Indiana's going to have a tougher time than people think. You don't know. It's a 14.5-point game. But, those are the things that can happen in this game sometimes when you're dealing with humans. And it's still a human game, and human nature can play a part of it, Billy.
I'm very interested for that Penn State game. You want to talk about a spot where, we've seen some folks leaving early. The Penn State crowd could be leaving very early if that thing gets ugly. Or that thing could be close into the second half. And maybe it starts getting a little bit raucous in there because they haven't had a whole lot to cheer about this year.
And all of a sudden you start building hope and belief in the team and in the crowd. What does the crowd do then in Happy Valley?
That's true.
You think about those factors. And what I keep thinking about, Billy, is no matter how these seasons have gone for these teams and what the record is and what the results are, there are still absolute units in terms of athletes on that side. You can't tell me that some guy on Penn State, the D line, the guys on Penn State that were recruited at the level they were at,
4 and 5 stars all over the place. You're right.
They're still going to strong guys, like good athletes, like guys you have to reckon with, play in and play out.
And also guys that are now playing for deals, right? And playing for next year as well, as much as you're playing for the guys that are around you. What do you think the crowd's going to be like for the Berlin game coming up this weekend? I totally misspoke when we were on with Dolph yesterday. I said first Berlin game. I think it's like the third or fourth game that they've played in Germany.
They played at like Frankfurt.
They played in Frankfurt and Munich, I believe. But I do believe it's the first game in Berlin.
Yes.
But they have been to Germany before. Colts get to bring their new toy Sauce Gardner to the party, and he gets a D up most likely. Drake London, Falcons and Colts. That has the potential to be a Thursday night or a early morning special where this thing gets blowout city, you think, or just a snoozer of a game across the pond?
I think the Colts are going to handle them easily. I do. Atlanta hasn't impressed me enough, obviously, to deal with what the Colts have done this year. But I do think it'll be a good crowd. I mean, this is the first ever game in Berlin. This is a huge city in the world. And I would think that, I think the Germans like football, and I think they're going to have fun with it. And I think no matter what teams are there, if there's an NFL game in your city for the first time ever, you're probably going to get people that are fans
You're gonna be juiced
that
up,
just
yeah.
want to be there, that just want to see it. Olympic Stadium, I believe. I'm trying to think when Berlin had the Olympics. I know it was years ago, but there you go.
Olympic Stadium, Berlin.
Yeah,
Look at
that's
you.
it. What a strong
Are we
name
talking
for a
the
stadium.
1936 Olympics?
No, I don't think it's that old. I hope not.
Because I'm pretty sure that was Germany back then.
Yeah, you're
Either
right.
32 or 36.
They did in 36. That
Okay.
was the Jesse Owens Olympics. I don't know. Maybe they have I'm assuming it's better than the one they built in 36, but I hope not. I don't know. I hope it's better facility. But I think it'll be a good game, Billy. I think it'll be fun to have it. I generally like when the NFL's tried out these Europe games. I know some people don't like it. It's never been a problem for me. I think it's pretty cool. I'm old enough to remember the old NFL Europe, the Rhine Fire and the Barcelona Dragons and all these teams. So there is a thirst and interest for NFL football overseas, for American football overseas. And I think it's pretty cool. I do think the Colts will win this one easily, though.
Olympia Stadium, otherwise known as Berlin Olympic Stadium, a sports stadium at Olympia Park, Berlin.
Oh, okay.
Originally designed by Werner March for the 1936 Summer Olympics. During the Olympics, the record attendance was over 100,000. Since renovations in 2004, have the capacity now at 74,000. Largest stadium in Germany for international football matches.
Okay.
Besides its use for athletic stadiums built for a footballing tradition, since 1963, it's been the home of Hertha BSC and hosted 3 matches in the FIFA World Cup. So yeah, original one. During the 1912 Summer Olympics, the city of Berlin was designated as the international committee and the host of the 1916 Summer Olympics. They proposed the stadium for the event that it would be located in Grünwald Forest.
Yeah, you got it.
West of Berlin.
Let's go.
Thus, the stadium has been known as Gutenwalderstein.
Good job.
A horse racing course also already existed there.
Wayne's been there.
And then they built it up in 1936, 1931 was when they got the okay to start firing that bad boy up. So
Nice. Looks like the biggest stadium in Berlin, if I'm looking at this right. So honestly, it looks pretty cool. They've got like a half covered, half open, kind of like dome situation.
Similar to how I think the stadium in Buffalo is going to look.
Wow.
Where, like the fans are kind of covered and the field, the pitch itself might not be. After a
that was the original plan with the old Dallas stadium.
Certain political party in Germany won in 1933. They decided to use the Olympic Games to build the new stadium in 1936, and that thing has been up there ever since. That's impressive.
No, a lot of updates, of course, as they talk about, but it's a cool looking stadium. So.
They also have a track around the outside of it, which gives it the feel of we're playing old school ball here.
Old school.
You're walking into a massive complex if we got the full outdoor track around the football field.
Yeah, used for Olympics.
Fans are going to look, the fans and the players are going to look very, very distant from the fans. It's going to be fun viewing, I think, coming up on Sunday morning.
Yeah, and what they do really well in Europe is they do the chants, the constant chants.
Sing a lot of songs.
I kind of like that. So, I mean, I'm into it. I know a lot of people aren't into international NFL fans. I'm not one of those guys.
Listen, and if there's going to be football on early in the morning, I'm going to be signed up for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best part. Early game.
The Baltimore
Quadruple header.
Ravens head to the Minnesota Vikings this weekend. We'll talk about that one. We'll talk about the other games in the NFC North, as well as the big one in the NFC West, Rams at Niners. Who's actually going to be available for the Niners? And more on the Packers and Eagles, as Matt LaFleur talked yesterday, gave us some updates on the green and gold as they get ready for their matchup against the reigning defending Eagles. Give you a look at the injury report and more conversation about it on the other side. It's No BS statewide on the game.
Stay tuned.
You do like to grab attention.
No BS will be back in just a moment. If you missed No BS, you missed out on this.
Voice of the Green Bay Packers, Wayne Larrabee hanging out with us here. After how emotional Pittsburgh was and how much everyone's looking forward to Philadelphia, this wasn't super surprising to see the lack of juice, was it?
I would love to argue with you on that, but I really can't. The emotion, the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, they get even the best of teams. But the key is really the really good, mature teams find a way to play over that. And, you know, you're exactly right, Billy. The emotion, that Pittsburgh game, okay, the players and the coaching staff, especially going into that game, tried to downplay it as best they could. That game meant a lot to that football team. And I saw it in the locker room after the game. Those guys were hanging around in Pittsburgh, and they were savoring the moment. And it was a big deal because it was a time for them to prove that their guy, Jordan Love, not only was surpassing Aaron Rodgers at this stage, a better player, but they were intent that he would be able to beat Aaron Rodgers in a matchup, maybe the only matchup they'll ever have against one another.
Billy and Armen are talking about all of your favorite teams each morning from 6 to 10 on the game.
iHeartRadio soundtrack flashback.
The Brat Pack gave us a more mature version of themselves in 1985's St. Elmo's Fire. The soundtrack was also grown up, and the theme song reflected that. John Parr's St. Elmo's Fire, Man in Motion, sat on top of the charts for 2 weeks.
I can see a new horizon underneath the blazing sky. I'll be where the eagles flying higher.
For more great movie soundtrack hits, check out Popcorn Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
On the latest Tales from 1265, we dive into how the first Hall of Fame for an individual team came to fruition and the most unique story in all of sports.
They go further in the red, but then community leaders decided to have that first stock sale.
I'm Doug Russell. Join me for Tales from 1265 on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Tales from 1265 is presented by Nicolay Law, Wisconsin's winning team of lawyers that will get you back in the game.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1972.
In May, the Rolling Stones spend the year recording in southern France and release the double album Exile on Main Street. It goes to #1 in both the US and the UK. California band the Doobie Brothers score a hit off their second album, Toulouse Street, with the single Listen to the Music. More from the summer of 72, Curtis Mayfield is back on the charts with a soundtrack for the film Superfly. The album yields 2 top 10 hits with Freddy's Dead and the title track. And former Zombies keyboardist Rod Argent has a hit album and a #5 single in the US and the UK with Hold Your Head Up.
Hold your head up. Hold your head up. Hold your head up. Hold your head up.
Harry Chapin's performance of the song Taxi on The Tonight Show 2 nights in a row leads to a hit. And struggling UK band Mott the Hoop will get help from fan David Bowie, who produces their album and writes them a hit, All the Young Dudes, which peaks at #3 in the UK and in the top 40 in the States.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1972. Coming up.
You may not play for your favorite team, but you act like it. Whether you're at work or outside on the grill, you carry them with you. No, not with a jersey, but a mindset. As you crack open that ice-cold beer. Cheesehead TV and Gathering Place Brewing bring you Carry the G, a delicious and easy drinking cream ale. But it's not just for tailgating, it's for everyday life.
Well, we carry the G wherever we may be, so creamy and cold, from the land of the green and gold.
Available throughout Wisconsin. 21 plus. Drink responsibly.
Alzheimer's disease is the sixth leading cause of death in the country, and it's affecting almost 7 million Americans, including 110,000 people here in Wisconsin. UW-Madison is working hard to improve the lives of those affected, offering resources to educate and the latest in research and technology. The UW Initiative to End Alzheimer's has so many ways you can benefit, learn, get involved, and make a difference. Visit goalsforacure.org. That's goalsforacure.org.
Animals need friends. For a list of 10 easy things you can do to brighten their lives, please write People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. That's PETA, Norfolk, Virginia 23510. Thanks.
What you waiting for? Let's go. Make sure to make us a preset on the iHeartRadio app so you can listen to us anytime, anywhere. Wisconsin's home for sports and stuff. We are the game.
Message marked urgent.
We're here for you now on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line at 1-877-794-1973.
You got the soul and you know how to use it. Put your hand on my hip, cause you know that I'll lose it. You got my heart racing like there's nothing to it. Falling in love to the beat of the music.
So you never know.
He knew the words of that song. That part of the song.
Of the words to the song. You never know what Luddy's going to come up with on the wax.
An incredibly eclectic variety of music from Andrew Ludwig. You can go from 70s soul to modern day country.
Yeah, to whatever.
To who knows, AC/DC, who apparently tickets go on sale today.
Cool.
I believe at 10 o'clock for their show at Camp Randall Stadium.
That's a huge deal.
That is a huge Red Hot Tim Scott.
And Camp Randall bringing back concerts is sort of a new deal,
Yeah,
right?
big time.
I mean, now so talking about revenue streams, Varsity Ale, all these things help. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it definitely all helps.
And
No doubt about it.
AC/DC, obviously a monster.
And they're
name.
going to rock. That is going to be a great show for those that are attending.
And if there's somebody that we know very well that isn't attending, I'd be very surprised.
Red Hot's going to be right there.
Red Hot's got to be
right there in the middle. He's
He might
gonna be
even
right
Uber there and back just so we can get a little, have a
might
couple
introduce
libations.
him.
He's going to be in the pit.
He might be there. He might be introducing him. He might be.
Wow, how about it? Yeah,
he might
maybe.
be listening to us right now, waiting to get tickets. God, I hope so.
Love you, man. I love this stat here from NFL Next Gen Stats. Armin, check this one out. Now, this will make people happy and or frustrated or all of the above. Shows just how fluky's the wrong word because they've earned both of the L's.
Okay.
But how maybe strange both of the losses for the Green Bay Packers have been. This from Next Gen Stats. The Packers have only allowed 14.5 points per game in their 2 losses in 2025.
That's super weird, man. It's been super weird.
Only the 2000s Baltimore Ravens, 13 points allowed in fewer games in losses than the Packers in 2025 among any team in the last 40 NFL seasons.
Jesus.
Do you remember the stat from the 2010 team that was kind of crazy that won the Super Bowl?
They didn't trail by 7 all
They
year.
never trailed by more than 7 all season.
It's crazy, but that was also an indication to a lot of us how good they could be.
Right.
And maybe that's how we should look at this team. I definitely understand, though, with the weirdness of the stats and the weirdness of the teams you lose to, why fans have been getting so emotional about the team, because it's hard to, I don't blame anyone. It's hard to make sense of it. And we look to make sense of things in life, logically.
Especially for 20 hours a week on the radio.
Right.
Yes.
But it's hard to make sense of a team that can go out and play so well, then take losses to these teams that we don't think are good, but yet not look totally terrible on one side of the ball, but yet don't have bad numbers, but yet the results are bad, but yet you still could have won. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. It's still the Browns' loss for me. That's still like the one that doesn't make the most sense and looks worse and worse. The game situation, especially when the Packers were up in the game situation, there was no way they should have lost that game. Just the game situation they were in. Now, I'm not saying they played their best, obviously didn't, but they were in such a much better game situation. They never were in that situation against the Panthers, Billy. They had an early lead of 3-0, but they were behind and kind of getting beat up. And there was indications that game was going to be a struggle throughout the game because you couldn't sustain the right things in the red zone. You couldn't do the right things on offense. You couldn't stop the run. A lot of that wasn't happening in the Browns game until all of a sudden the most crazy sequence of events happened.
And the wheels fell off.
The wheels fell off, and you lose the ball game.
I was listening to Chris Long on a couple of different outlets this week, and he's had one core frustration with the Packers, and I think it's one that a lot of us can agree with, and it's something that has been definitely true in both of their losses. The fact that they have had a slow operation and that they've played a little slow. And he's like, I think you see them play a little slow at home regardless. And now you've seen them struggle in the first half of a number of the most recent games. Right out of the gates, I would say that they, had a lot of good success on offense in the first two games, but the pacing has been pretty similar. Even to the ball control style play that they had against Detroit, and they were really successful when they got into the red zone. It jumps off the page a lot more when you go 1 of 5 in the red zone.
Yeah.
But it's like when you play to, 3 on the play clock every single time, you play for 6, 7, 8 minute drives at a time. The margin for error is so much smaller. Like you can't miss once you're on to second down. He's like, you become the most important second down team in football, that if your second down play is second and long, well, you really better get on track. Otherwise, it's third and forever, and your chance of punting this thing away are going to be pretty high. So they've put themselves with how much they run the ball on first down, and I do anticipate they throw it a tick more on first down going forward. Just because of the lack of health on the offensive line, even though it is the easiest way to bake in some form of balance. And they are dedicated to being more of a balanced football team. I think you see a little bit more variation of it, maybe a little bit more throwing on first down. You're going to run the ball a lot on first down, no doubt about it. But I think you start to see it's week 10. You've got 8 games of a sample size. This is a legitimate sample size that you can look at and say, these are the trends that are positive for our football team, and these are the ones that are negative. I think this little bit extra day might not be as much as you think it is, but it's a good time to do a little bit extra self-scout off of the loss. I'll like to do it on a win, no doubt.
Sure.
But you maybe have a more critical eye off a loss, and you can really identify some of the things that are, you believe, the backbones of your team. Time of possession, dominating the ground, slowing the game down, helping out our defense in that way. But maybe if you try to be a little bit more quick strike, a little bit more onto the ball right away than just trying to see if you can draw the other team with 12 or 13 men on the field, get into a little bit more tempo, you get yourself more plays. And as an explosive offense that you are and that you've shown to be, you run more plays.
You run more plays, run
more plays for your rather explosive offense.
And
so
increase expectancy. Yeah.
That's the one where, like, after 8 games, you can say, okay, we do have a much more explosive offense than maybe we did in 2024. And we don't have as physical of a run game as we would have liked and we had at the back end of 2024. We start to adjust. We start to rein in and change with the trends because we're halfway through the season and this is a legitimate understanding as to who we are. And let's get some more plays for a more explosive offense than we've had over the last 2 years.
Yeah, and it is super interesting when you think about those 2 losses in the teams. And Ben Solak had some amazing insight and data on this that I think tells us a little bit about the Packers' aggressiveness relative to their expectation entering the game, which I was kind of surprised by. But it seems like at least some numbers suggest that Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love are more overly cautious when the Packers are big favorites. And maybe that had something to get into. That has something to do with those type of games and why they kept close. Now, as we know, Matt LaFleur loves going for explosive plays and loves going for deep balls. Since the 23 season, 12.8% of Jordan Love's passes have traveled at least 20 yards downfield. That's the 4th highest rate in the NFL, behind only Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, and Russell Wilson. Okay, so Love's downfield aggressiveness is part of the offense, right? You can't really separate it from the offense. That's part of the offense. But the air yards per pass attempt decrease when the spread is higher under Matt LaFleur. Now, that really wasn't the case for Aaron Rodgers. Whether or not that's intentional or just those teams play a super cautious shell umbrella defense that kind of forces you in that game is interesting. But sometimes that's the tough thing here, is because on one hand, and Matt LaFleur said after the game, we can't get into these things where we get impatient and try to get a deep ball that's not there. We got to stay patient. But that does play into the idea that you're being less aggressive against those teams. So I don't know if there's reasons for it besides just the mentality going in. But there was some indicator that the Packers had been less or more cautious against a team that they feel like is not as good as to not, so you kind of want to have that aggressiveness for any team you're playing. But it's understandable, maybe human nature, that you don't for teams you think is going to do well. I think the Chiefs had the same issue in the early 20s, 21, 22, when all these opposing defenses, Billy, almost universally deployed these soft shell coverages against their downfield passing attack because it can be so vulnerable or so dangerous. So then because it becomes where teams are going to play into that, you have to puncture them in the places they're leaving themselves vulnerable, middle, underneath, and running game. So that is the constant push and pull emotionally for any play caller and any head coach that wants to remain true to your identity, but also be smart about taking what you're given by the defense. And these are all the challenges the Packers are going to have here. And it's sort of an identity challenge sometimes for the Packers. And I think changing your tide that much, sometimes some teams are better suited to it than others.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find out about the Packers if they're suited to doing that, because really good teams can kind of change up and be a chameleon and winning a lot of different type of ways. So the Packers have done that defensively, but can they change their offense from week to week to do that?
Yeah, and even I think back to 2023 where they're playing their best ball at the end of the season, Armen, right? Like the biggest and most important part of their offense was Aaron Jones running for 100 yards every game. But the story that everybody was talking about on Monday morning were the wow throws that Jordan Love was making.
Exactly.
And the efficiency and the 18 touchdowns, the 1 interception. They got to blend together. And you got to be able to find more consistency up front is a big part of this. And maybe that's where some tempo helps you out. Maybe some tempo helps you out by getting up to the line of scrimmage and putting a little bit more pressure on the defense, not letting them get their full win back every single time before rolling. You think it maybe is helping you guys out a little bit more? Maybe you put some more pressure onto the opponent that way. Thomas in Alaska said, is Matt LaFleur overthinking true play calls or overthinking 2 play calls? Or does he not trust Love to make the calls on the fly in an up-tempo offense? So I don't think that there's anything of like not trusting Love to make the plays at the line. I think you see a lot more of it and a ton of it with the can calls and how good Jordan has been at it.
But the tempo thing,
I just don't think they know if that's the best way to play.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's easy to say, let's get up tempo and run up and down when you're sitting on the couch and you just put up 13 points against Carolina. But when you do have a defense that has been as good, and I mean, I read off the stat, the 2 games they've lost, they've given up a combined 14.5 points. Only team to do that is the Ravens in the last 40 years in 2000. And as Texter did ask, did they win the Super Bowl that year? Yeah, that was burying the lead. They won the title, and it's one of the historically great defenses the league has ever seen. I don't know that this is a historically great defense, but I do know that it's one of the better ones in football, and you would think you try to keep them off the field as long as possible. But you got to go and get them a lead, because that's the way, if you're talking about the way you're built, that defense is built to play from ahead. A lot of them are, but this one, when you're rushing for and you're going to keep eyes on the quarterback, you're built to play from ahead and force them to dink and dunk their way down the field and then be able to capitalize into a 3rd and long.
Yeah, and that you're right about the defense not giving up points, but ball control is a big part of this. Like, it's pretty tough when your offense is only against the Panthers on its 3rd drive with 2 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter. So because the Packers had so many few drives in the first half, you're not going to get – Matt LaFleur's not going to go up tempo for his first drive. He's only had 2 drives. He's going to go with the script. He's going to go with what he thinks works. He's going to try and execute a regular drive. He's not going to be like, I'm just going to go up tempo all of a sudden. It's our first drive of the game. That's the part of it where the offense has to – or the defense has to get the ball back for the offense. Now, they didn't start the game that well against the Panthers. They did that.
Mm-hmm.
They got the field. The offense got the ball. They were marching down the field, and then the fumble happened. And those small things can't happen. So I think that's part of it, Billy. Ball control is a big part of it. Credit Carolina, they did that really well. They didn't get a massive amount of points, but they kept them off the Packers off the field offensively, and they kept the ball, and they possessed the ball, and they ran the clock, and they shortened the game. And that was their recipe to victory. And it was a weird one, but that's why it worked. Also, and I love Dobler coming in with a lot of
Dobler.
Dobler's been and giving us, by the way, great takes about that Berlin Stadium. We'll get to him because he watches a lot of soccer there.
Oh, let's go, Dobler. Come on.
But he said the Packers be undefeated this year if all the field goals are made. That's true too. I mean, if you small things like that, you make the field goals. It's amazing to think how close this team is to actually being undefeated.
Well, and he puts IR McManus on there. And I don't know, there's never the wrong time to make the right decision, but you got to know as to when he's going to be at 100%. And you need him to be legitimately honest with you about it as to how close it can really be, because you can continually trot him out there if he says that I'm going to be okay. And they're going to take him at face value and at his word. And I understand that, but you can't be going out there if we're not 100%. And we have a 100% option in-house waiting, and not on the practice squad, by the way, on the active roster.
Mm-hmm. Right. Active roster. Totally.
Also, before we get to Dobler's, because he said it has tendency to look kind of empty. Sorry. As he said, I watch a lot of Bundesliga, which is the German main German soccer league. Has a tendency to look kind of empty with the fans so far away in the end zones. I totally think that's going to be the case. But I'm excited because he's like, you'll see the track on the end zone at times. I'm excited to see how the NFL logos the absolute out of it.
Oh, they're going to put everything on there.
The amount of international signage.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe flags, NFL logos, team logos. It's going to be impressive.
And I also think a track around the stadium.
Racism in the end zone.
That's going to be right there on the track.
Put the finishing touches on it.
Curvature.
Yeah.
And you get the track around the stadium, around the field. That's a great place for media and a bunch of people just be hanging around, right?
That's true. Yes.
Hanging around the track. You sell those. I mean, they can do something.
They should be selling those tickets. On-field standing room. Everyone would be like, this is amazing. And then they're standing behind 6'7" guys in pads and helmets.
Reminds me of kind of like media day when we were down there for New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Like my first time ever being there.
You can go around this side.
You can't be on the field anymore. You could go around the perimeter and just get shoulder to shoulder.
Shoulder
bumping everybody. People from the Butt Scratch podcast. I had no idea where
the most comfortable spot in that media night that I got and I found was behind Sketch. The streamer while he was playing Madden against players.
Oh, was that who it was? See, I don't know that.
About the most comfortable I got. And then I also, my friend Robbie said, dude, I saw you in Sketch's live stream last night. I'm like, sweet. You can also find us live streaming every single day on YouTube and X.
The Nickelodeon guys got special, what does and what
carte blanche.
What does and what doesn't constitute media now. That was a big eye opener for me about how, you talk about how the business is changing and things.
That's true.
That was a big eye opener for me, Billy.
What do you mean? You didn't think The Bachelor would be the main guy at
He was the most legit one. Who are all these kids with GoPros? Were they producing?
I don't know. Not my day to watch
evenings for 10 years to get this shot. What the heck was going on out there? But hey, that's what it was.
But we got that sweet picture on the field.
No, it was awesome, Billy. It was a great experience. Don't get me wrong.
It was amazing.
Also,
the experience to talk on the Nicolay Law.com Talking Text Line is my favorite. Also, being able to go back and forth with people on Talking Text Line is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And when people send us memes so we can describe them. My man Philly Todd sent us in one of the funnier videos. I don't know that you haven't seen if you've seen this or not, and I had not.
I saw it.
Jordan Love chilling with Aaron Rodgers on one shoulder and Brett Favre on the other. Throw an awesome touchdown. Jordan, throw the dumbest interception of all time.
It's funny, but I guess I just hate it because I think we have a little bit of revisionist history and we're sanitized a little bit in our memory of how many bad picks Brett truly threw that. Jordan really has not thrown this year. I mean, yes, Jordan has not been perfect.
I thought you were going to say on how many sick touchdowns Brett Favre threw.
He threw amazing ones.
He threw a lot of awesome
But
touchdowns.
he threw a lot more yeet balls game to game than you. Listen, and the league was different back then.
He had at least one deep shot like that Merring ends up coming down with a game, if not a half.
Jordan might be a more careful quarterback than Aaron in some ways. Like Aaron did it for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
And
more
Jordan,
sustained with
Jordan had a higher interception rate last year. He was hurt, but I don't know, man. I think those were just part of the game more. And because we see it one time, we freak out. The thing we think Jordan throws all these, then we get the whole we can't trust Jordan thing. It's kind of nonsense to me if you watch. But this is the experience of watching old games that I think enriches me.
That's true.
I'm not trying to
like
toot my own horn.
Enriches you.
Because you really get more perspective like, oh, okay, not everything was always perfect all the time.
Some would
Like,
say it wasn't puppy dogs and ice cream all the time.
You see stuff like, what was he throwing here? Like, but it's just a different game back then, and I really don't think Jordan throws that many dumb ones. I know there are some interceptions that exist. Yes, the deep one existed, right? He has thrown some picks, but I don't think you could go watch Brett in the first half of '94. I'm sorry,
and go see what he was throwing out there. Also out there yesterday at practice after leaving Sunday's game early, Matthew Golden, Colby Wooden, and Aaron Banks on the practice field yesterday. Dontavian Wicks also practicing after missing 2 games. That was good to see. No Lucas Van Ness, no Savion Williams, no Nate Hobbs, which isn't necessarily surprising. Matt LaFleur did say both. They'll go with whichever kicker gives them the best chance to win. Both Brandon McManus and Lucas Haversack kicked yesterday. Get a full report on how that all went today and how all of them came out, and get a little bit more information on maybe if we'll see in addition to the Green Bay Packers. They had a free agent visit yesterday. The only free agent visit in the NFL was Asante Samuel Jr. to the Green Bay Packers. Maybe we get some news in our final 40 minutes of the program here today on a Football Friday. What we do have on the other side is a parlay of the day. We fire one in, hopefully win one for crying out loud this week. Next on the game.
Might as well be walking on the sun. With the tears because our baby's life has been
All right, everybody, I want to tell you about my new obsession, Daisy French Onion Dip. One of my guilty pleasures during football season is eating dips with chips, wings, and veggies while watching the big game. And now Daisy came out with a delicious Daisy French Onion Dip and a Daisy Ranch Dip, and these are game changers. These are as delicious as any homemade dip, and they're made with real herbs and spices and other ingredients you'd find in your own kitchen. So give Daisy French Onion Dip a try. Look for Daisy French Onion Dip at a grocery store near you.
Want to watch No BS?
We'll do anything it takes.
They're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X right now.
We have a place for it.
Just search 97.3 The Game.
I'm Red Lewis with NFL Network Now and the Westwood One Radio Network. Week 10 of the NFL season kicked off in the Mile High City, where the Broncos improved to 8-2 after they outlasted the Raiders 10-7. Bo Nix threw for 150 yards and a touchdown, but Denver's defense was the true star, holding the Raiders to only 1 score and sacking Geno Smith 6 times on the night. Staying in the AFC, Indy got some good news today when the newly acquired Sauce Gardner cleared concussion protocol. Former Jet, 2-time All-Pro, will make his debut this Sunday when the Colts take on the Falcons in Berlin, Germany. Over in Buffalo, James Cook was a limited participant during Thursday's practice. Star tailback currently recovering from an ankle injury suffered during the Bills' Week 9 win over the Chiefs. And in San Francisco, Niners quarterback Brock Purdy, a limited participant as he continues his battle back to the field from a toe injury. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8 year old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensate for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Rick Springfield to get some insight on his latest release, Rocket Science.
It's a guitar-based record for sure, and I love big hooks, and not a country record at all. It's a rock and roll record, but it does have some country elements.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from Rick Springfield and all your favorite artists.
Wisconsin Badger basketball.
The Red Hot Badgers host Northern Illinois at the Colt Center this Friday night. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Radio soundtrack flashback.
Was there anything Queen couldn't do? Flash Gordon hit screens in 1980 and gave us a soundtrack / Queen album for the ages. The Flash theme still conjures positive vibes to this day.
King of the Impossible. He's for every one of us.
For more great movie soundtrack hits, check out Popcorn Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
The Milwaukee Admirals wrap up a 4-game homestand on Friday night when they host the Rockford Ice Hogs at Panther Arena. From the far circle, slot Carr, shoot, scores! Happy birthday, Daniel Carr! Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio soundtrack flashback.
The only song sanctioned for running upstairs is Gonna Fly Now. Bill Conti's theme from 1976's Rocky fits perfectly on today's workout playlists.
For more great movie soundtrack hits, check out Popcorn Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
Touchdown, Wisconsin!
Join us Saturday. Wisconsin returns home to host Washington. Our coverage begins at 1:30
on Milwaukee's home for Wisconsin Badger football. 95.7 Big FM.
It's the greatest story in sports.
Star dropping straight back. Kennedy throws, has the ball. It is a touchdown.
I'm Doug Russell, and this is Tales from 1265, an insider's look at football's most storied franchise. A franchise that has had its dynasties.
This is the first Super Bowl trophy, and it's something Green Bay can keep. We're going to have a new trophy each year.
And its rebirths.
Every major football decision will be made by Ron Wolf.
I realize I'm a Green Bay Packer now. Maybe I can prove that I am worth the first-round pick next year, but just got to be patient.
But I was really impressed with the coaching staff, with the whole organization, and with the direction the team is going. I think they have a total commitment to winning.
Tales from 1265 is presented by Nicolay Law, your local award-winning injury lawyers. If you've been injured, get Nicolay, Wisconsin's winning team of lawyers that will get you back in the game. Tales from 1265 is a production of iHeartRadio Podcasts and is available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Music, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
No BS on the game. Billy and Sarian with you. And across the state of Wisconsin, football Friday night before we fire in a parlay of the day at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. You bet big, bet bold, bet above the rest. Armin, what's your bet? D2, West De Pere just thumped the heck out of Pulaski. They get to host your boys from Union Grove, who snuck by Nicolay 14-12 in the D2 quarterfinal tonight.
Well, I'm sad about that's Pulaski, Wisconsin, not Milwaukee, Pulaski, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Big difference.
Because I know about 27th in Oklahoma. I know about Leon.
That's your spot. That's true.
I know about that. Is it wrong that I usually cheer for the Southeastern Wisconsin teams?
No, I'm fine with you having some.
Provincial.
I'm fine with you having some geographical alignment.
I think it's cool though. I mean, it's going to be exciting. Listen, this is where dreams start to come true. For a lot of schoolboy dreams start to come true. Level 3 tonight, level 4. I know you'd be locked in, Billy, on some great matchups tonight.
Can't wait. How about this one from when we talked about the furthest trip last week?
Yeah, let's do that again.
River Falls hosting Oshkosh North.
Jeez.
That's a hike in a number 1 versus
like
number 3 seed.
It's like a WEAC game.
Notre Dame against Rice Lake. That would also be like a WEAC game on that trip.
River Falls to Oshkosh is 3 hours 55, by the way. Well, unless you take Highway 10 quicker. Now you can take it to Highway 21 from 29.
Which is your favorite highway? I like Highway 10.
Well, listen, this is I'm not good at this type of, I leave this radio to other guys around the state. 10 is the quickest route. You can spend 2 more minutes going on Highway 29. So that's not too bad. If you like 29, it's just 2 minutes.
Moves quicker, I feel like.
Well, it does move quicker, but there's more mileage. But you can go faster on it. So if that's the way you like to drive, some people prefer that. That's probably the longest one tonight, 4 hours. But you had another one, Billy. Sorry, what was the one?
Notre Dame Rice Lake. That's a hike.
Mm-hmm.
That is a hike. Homestead Monona Grove in Division 2. That's going to be a really good one.
Yeah.
Monona Grove trying to run through the North Shore Conferences. They beat Germantown. Now they go up to Homestead en route to try to go and have themselves a matchup against maybe West De Pere to get to state. In Division 1, Waunakee against De Pere. Phenomenal one also. nice trek. That's a good 2 hours, 40 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Muskego and Badger might be the most fun game being played. It also, Luddy, we talked about, triple option.
Oh, yeah.
Split back here. This is the possibility of being the shortest game of all time.
Yeah, 2-for-1 special here with triple option.
Muskego and Badger, this game might be played in an hour and 38 minutes.
I love that.
This will be the first game up on Football Friday night.
You'll think it's a running clock.
Now I'm assuming it's on TV somewhere, right?
That one is not.
What?
That one's at Muskego High School, and I believe Muskego High School does not do that.
There's a paywall.
Yeah, there's a paywall. You can watch the game. You can watch the game.
That paywall's been there for a while.
They have a streaming service. Really well done broadcast.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
really, really well done broadcast. It'll be worth your $8 or whatever.
My thought is that they don't do it because they gotta sweat out all the timeout breaks because the clock doesn't stop, the drive, you know what I mean? And they weren't going to be able to get those breaks in. So, wow, that's smart. They create their own revenue stream.
As somebody that gets to call some high school sports, you make those breaks up. You figure out when we can play those commercial breaks.
We owe you
and
one.
It definitely helps when you have a dominant producer back here like Andrew Ludwig to help us out and say, Luddy, all right, exactly how many do I have to play here? Because we are coming back very, very quickly. It's only a 30-second time.
Right.
We've only got time for one Mike McGivern commercial.
Yeah, we've only got one time to be able to tell you about Brookside Baptist Church, which is a phenomenal place, and you should be going this Sunday. How about Arrowhead hosting Sussex Hamilton?
How about them, Billy? Any insight on your old boys there?
These two teams have played in the playoffs. I believe this is the fourth consecutive year.
That sounds about right.
This is like Packers Niners, Packers Cowboys in the 90s.
Held two of the more frustrating L's on the sideline of all time to Hamilton, but then got one back last year. So that's gonna be a fun game. And these two teams do not like each other. They played earlier in the year.
This is gonna be one.
A fun one. That's a very, very fun game in a 1 versus 2.
That's the one I'm gonna have my eyes on. I mean, for obvious reasons.
Well, and Luddy's got his eyes on the other side of the bracket. Pardon me, Luddy. Franklin hosting Bayport.
Your boys. Right?
Bayport, just a year after year after year as a program, has been able to just build something great. And they put up 49 points against Milwaukee Reg, and we'll see with, going up against Franklin, dominant year after year on defense. We will see, though. That's not an easy ride down for Bayport, but we'll see.
No, that is another hike.
Not easy to go to Franklin, who's been really good, obviously, in the state. Now, I'm a Franklin resident for like 24 more
Oh,
hours.
okay. So are you still pulling for the Sabres?
Well, I guess literally.
Have you ever pulled for the Sabres? I've never seen you at a game.
I mean, I've never been.
Oh, there we go. Well, he doesn't go to games anymore.
Gotcha.
Now that he's got kids, he doesn't go to games anymore.
I'm
just like Bulls and Bucks tonight. Usually that would be a game Armen would be at.
Sure.
For sure, him and Lara. But now they got kids.
Well, let me ask you something. What am I going to do? Go to the game and roll up in my Greenfield leather jacket? What am I going to do? Really?
All black, rock out with the Sabre.
By the way, I found the leather jacket.
You live in the city and you don't have any gear?
No, I don't have any gear. I didn't see it as my long-term home. Now it almost was a couple times.
My bad. I stepped on you there.
Was that?
Did you say you found the leather jacket?
I found the leather jacket. Yeah, I should wear it one of these days. Should I wear
it? Still fit?
Yeah, I didn't really grow any taller. Yeah. Your boy didn't grow any taller. Okay, is that what your point is?
Yeah. My man last year at opening day wore the first jersey he ever got.
Yeah,
the first Brewer jersey he ever got was the one he wore on opening day.
Was it? Gerald Williams, the great Gerald Williams.
Wow.
And it's still
he's
fit.
escaping my memory at the moment.
Yeah. It's an impressive feat that Armen Sarian can kind of chameleon himself in any of the outfits that he ever wore.
Billy, real quick back to the WIA playoffs. Franklin, if they win, Muskego, if they win, they'll play each other to go to state.
There's no matchup.
The cities literally border each other. They used to be in the same conference. For whatever reason, that they have grown to hate each other even more now that they're not in the conference.
Because they both have great teams.
I know, and they're complete opposites. Franklin's the spread offense and has been since 2001 when Jesse Miller got there, and Muskego has been the exact same way. That they have been with the triple option with Ken Krause since, I don't know.
Early 2000s, mid 2000s. And I think the other part of it is, Letty, I think they played each other last year to go to state, if I'm not mistaken, or in the postseason. They played in the playoffs one of the last 2 years.
They've played so many times, it's gotten to the point where they kind of all blend together.
And the interesting thing is you develop a lot more of those disdains for the groups when you get to play at the youth levels.
Oh, yes.
And the youth programs, like you said, they're right next to each other. So you'll play the youth program growing up. I mean, like even at Whitnall, we played the Franklin Youth Program always growing up because you were the closest there.
Right. And it probably made you better that you went up against a school that had bigger, more kids. When we won this state championship in 2006, we were the only Division II school in the SEC. By the time we got to the playoffs, we're like, man, we played against schools bigger than this.
That's a good point.
All throughout it.
And that's the thing about it. I mean, when you have two programs that have done so well recently at that level and so close to it geographically, you're right. Battling for the same girl, all that stuff.
Speaking
all those
of that,
factors.
this is supposed to be a neutral site game. Let's say if Franklin and Muskego win, where the heck are you going to play it? You have to play farther away.
Judging by some of the neutral sites, they might be playing that one at
Rice Lake.
Hudson.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great
I thought
point.
Kettle Moraine, but okay.
It'll be Muskego against Franklin at Stevens Point Area High School.
Both
who would
buses
hate
chasing each other up to Oconto.
The one school that would hate to host them but might end up having to do it, Oak Creek.
I was going to say Oak Creek or Oconomowoc, but Oak Creek definitely might have to.
Do you get some of the ticket gate for that? Greenfield will take it. I mean,
what are you trying to get some revenue sharing?
Well, I don't know, taxes and all this. I don't know.
Got to redo the track right here.
Other games across the state that we got to make sure that we get because we don't want anybody to feel left out because we love everybody being able to play tonight. Hey, how about Reedsburg pulling off that big upset against Edgewood last week?
All right,
they host Pewaukee tonight, Division III. That's going to be an awesome game. Pewaukee, you want to talk about a team that plays a lot of Division I schools? They play in Classic 8. They go and take on Reedsburg. That's going to be an awesome one. Grafton hosting Plymouth 1-2. Throw the records out when those two teams get
Plymouth's a good program.
Good program. And you want to talk about some closeness in the two schools, right? In the two state, a little bit closer than some of these other ones. And Greendale Martin Luther hosting
still out there.
Hosting the game that Whitnall probably should have been hosted. 59-41 or 51-49, pardon me. The final.
Man, that would
Greendale Martin Luther Spartans earned the dub at Falcon Field. And it's going to be a hard one to swallow, knowing that the Falcons could be playing here tonight on level 3.
Well, they get that rent they sell from Crumble Cookies on 76th Street or whatever. The Crumble Cookies. Is that
Tropical
the one?
Smoothie Cafe.
Or the Smoothie Cafe that's in there. Like, what's going on here at this situation?
Starbucks all over the place.
Hey, Mike, what do you think of the 8th seed, though? Whitefish Bay. I mean, rattling off a win against New Berlin West, not easy. And then going up to Port, winning that one.
It's really impressive what the Blue Dukes have done.
I was like,
because
Blue
they
Dukes.
found a way to get them. Because when you start playing this time of year, it's about playing for each other. And about playing for the name on the helmet, not the one on the back of the jersey. A couple other good ones. Number 1, Catholic Memorial, Mount Horeb, Barneveld. In Barneveld. We had our friends from Mount Horeb checking in earlier on today. Come on, Mount Horeb. Dobler, is McGuanago still relevant in football?
Yeah.
Don't get much Braveland Conference news down here in Georgia. Well, bounced out last week, but the McGuanago.
Program's in a great spot.
Yeah,
I would not be worried.
The phenomenal back and forth. Too.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenal program, no doubt about it. Aquinas at UWL. That's going to be an awesome when Baldwin Woodville shows up. Columbus is a wagon. They take on Mosinee tonight. Racine St. Cat's up against Little Shoot.
Ooh,
that's a nomination for the Trek of the year.
That is a hike. Let me do some mileage there.
No, that's not
2.5.
That's not that bad. Yeah. We're seeing it
at least 2.5.
I don't know.
Where's Little Shoot?
That's Appleton,
right?
Yeah.
A little north of Appleton, right?
Yeah,
I think it's on the northern side.
It might be
That's
2.
Still a 2+ hour drive.
It is.
Winneconne hosting
2:15.
Freedom. Our friend Ryan in Freedom. I know he's got eyes on that one. Gonna be excited for that.
Winneconne, one of the coolest things towns to say.
It is definitely
Winneconne is just fun to say.
I take every opportunity to say it.
It's a very Wisconsin Winneconne. You know what I mean? I love that.
He's ready to go. They're going to host their number 1 seed.
I love that.
The Grantsburg Northwestern game, not the Northwestern Wildcats.
Different program.
That one's going to be at Grantsburg. Tomahawk hosting Stratford.
Former voice of Tomahawk, Hunter Baumgart.
I was going to say, this is a game that Hunter Baumgart would be on the call for.
100%.
Yeah, the Hunter Baumgart.
Holy cow.
I'm surprised. Oh, get him on
There
mic.
he is. There he is.
What the hell just happened?
Hunter, can you pop on really quick?
Hunter, can you pop on here really quick? As Hunter Baumgart, literally as I said his name,
yeah, Mike 5,
just really awkwardly stepped right into the window. And I don't know if you heard his name said. Did you hear? Okay, so you heard that we were discussing you.
You seem excited about this.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, we're very excited.
And you can't hear me because it has headphones on.
Yeah, and we're very excited to ask you about the breakdown that you have here tonight for the massive matchup in Division 5 that you would have been calling here tonight as Tomahawk hosts Stratford.
That's the Hunter.
The biggest games in Hatchet history.
Let's go.
They get this level 3 game at home, And it's 10 wins so far this season, most in Hatchet history.
Let's go.
It is awesome. And they got to get through Stratford, defending champions, I believe, in that division. So it's a big one at Hatchet Field tonight.
Is our friend Alex going to be on the call?
He is going to be on the call, and I'll tell you, he is super excited for this one. Absolutely, as that whole community is. Looking forward to that.
Is that streaming or something on the internet? Now you got me jacked up.
WJJQ, right?
Yes. So the WJJQ app is where you can find that one. The fantastic station there in the Northwoods.
Sure,
and
our friends at Rhinelander are like, we hate those songs.
Hey, Billy, can you ask Hunter, because he doesn't have headphones on,
Yes.
where the party is after the game in Tomahawk?
Where would the party be in Tomahawk after the game? Say the Hatchets come through and, I don't know, deliver a hatchet.
There's so many good spots
right on the lake
in Tomahawk.
Tomahawk Family Restaurant and 4th Street there.
That's probably closed by post game. Yeah.
Bootleggers Lodge.
There you go. You got the
Indian
Tilted
Pine.
Loon. You got Outboards. You got a lot of different. They got a lot of different options there for you.
I'm looking at Tilted.
I'm excited for this one.
I want to be laying horizontal at the Tilted Loon.
They got
that sounds like a phenomenal spot.
And Billy, their ratings are high. Billy, you can get a bar and grill. They got a great patio overlooking some water. I would assume that's where the loons are.
Yes,
that are tilted.
Yes,
because the loons are a little tilted because they've been drinking. You get the joke there.
Oh yeah.
Not only that, they got beer battered haddock walleye for the fish Friday night. Also, they've got steaks. They got
any non-fish?
Yeah, they got all kinds of burgers,
Friday,
steaks. This is one hell of a menu. Let me tell you.
Man, I am in. Well, Hunter, we apologize for scaring you as you.
That's
walk by.
okay. I'll talk Hatchet football anytime.
This is awesome. Just saying, I was taking a gander at their menu. No, anybody?
All right, we got a parlay of the day that we got to hit on the other side. Also, shout out Regis Mondavi. Also, Edgar hosting Bonduel. Damn, let's go.
Edgar's always in
not FanDuel.
Edgar is always in the state finals, it seems like.
Because they're damn good.
And that division is
Manitowoc Lutheran taking on Cedar Grove, Belgium. Now, that would be a game of proximity. Mm-hmm. That would be a game that's pretty close to each other. No doubt about it.
For a D6 game, that's close.
Very close. Also, our friends in Darlington hosting Belleville tonight. Division 7, we didn't forget about you. Cochrane Fountain City taking on Boyceville. Did I pronounce that
Boyceville.
Right? Boyceville?
I think so.
Cashton is a 5 seed. Beat up Blackhawk Warren, Illinois. Suck it, Illinois.
Yeah, we don't want Illinois teams in there.
Blackhawk Warren, Illinois is the number 1 seed in the Wisconsin State football tournament.
Anymore.
You deserve to catch that ass whooping by Cashton, and we appreciate them doing that. Potosi Cassville will host that one coming up tonight as they have that game. And also St. Cat's against Coleman. Good games.
St. Joe's.
St. Cat's is Racine. We already talked about them. Hunter, thanks for being a part of our WIA Level 3 playoff breakdown here tonight.
Go Hatchets.
Go Hatchets. And we'll be listening tonight on WJJQ.
Yes.
And if you
Alex
don't
Cook
eat
on
meat,
the call.
you don't eat meat. For those meatless eaters, we have the Southwest Veggie Wrap at the Tilted Loon. Delicious right there. Corn and black bean blend, avocado, green pepper, lettuce, cheddar cheese. You're all set to go.
I might have had that once.
I was going to say, that sounds like
we did go to the Tilted Loon once.
God, I can't wait.
Beautiful
to go
spot.
I can't wait to get to the Tilted Loon. Can't wait to get to the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We go for a parlay of the day on the other side. It's no BS on the game.
Working so hard. We've been working so hard. Come on, baby, let's head.
Stay tuned.
You do like to grab attention.
No BS will be back in just a moment. No BS on the game.
Show up all the odds of the different teams that could win the title. There are 14 teams up on there, none of which were named the Milwaukee Bucks.
Wow.
For the first time in a long time.
We're not top 14. Jeez.
Let alone top 4. Yeah. I mean, that's been the Bucks for a majority of the last decade since Giannis has taken that next step and become the MVP player that he is and has been in the NBA. So you just see, and at the Potawatomi Sportsbook right now, you can look down the list of different teams, and I think the Bucks appear right around 15th or 18th in terms of odds. They're like 50-1 long shots to win the NBA championship.
Plus 5,000 right now.
And understandably so. They are a really, really unproven group and a very unproven commodity. But when they got the best player in the Eastern Conference that is still seemingly wide open, definitely not as much of an open and shut case as I think the Western Conference is, with Oklahoma City kind of head and shoulders above everybody. In the East, I don't see that, and I see a team that is with him as motivated as he appears to be, it could lend itself to positive results.
Billy and Armen are talking about all of your favorite teams each morning from 6 to 10 on The Game.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Foreigner songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, Hot Blooded.
I show you loving like you never knew. That's why I'm hot-blooded. Check it and see. Feel the fever burning inside of me. Come on, baby, do you do more than dance?
Number 2, I Want to Know What Love Is.
Change this lonely life. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me.
Number 1, Cold as Ice.
You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice our love.
Hear more from Foreigner and similar artists now. Search for Foreigner on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
The Milwaukee Admirals wrap up a 4-game homestand on Friday night when they host the Rockford Ice Hogs at Panther Arena. From the far circle, slot Carr, shoot, scores! Happy birthday, Daniel Carr! Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
When Marlon Shirley was 5, he lost his foot. Today, as the world's fastest amputee, he runs the 100 meters in less time than it takes to listen to this. Overcome it. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life.
Touchdown, Wisconsin! Join us Saturday. Wisconsin returns home to host Washington. Our coverage begins at 1:30
On Milwaukee's home for Wisconsin Badger football. 95.7 Big FM.
Now, a year in rock spotlight. 1973.
Sing with me, just for today. Never tomorrow, the good Lord will take you away.
Boston band Aerosmith released their debut album. It fares poorly. It would be re-released in 76 and yield a top 10 hit, Dream On.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, right on that.
Elvis Presley's live TV special, Aloha from Hawaii, is watched by more than 1 billion people worldwide and introduces the world to the rhinestone white jumpsuit. In February of 73, Alice Cooper has a #1 album with Billion Dollar Babies, along with 3 top 40 singles. Elton John also has a #1 album and his first #1 single with Crocodile Rock. Paul McCartney and Wings have a #1 single with My Love, and the Stooges signed to Columbia Records and released their final album, Raw Power, produced by David Bowie. In March, Pink Floyd releases the now legendary Dark Side of the Moon. It goes to #1 and becomes one of the best-selling albums of all time.
And everything under the sun is true. The sun is a place for
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1973. Coming up.
Wisconsin Badger basketball.
The Red Hot Badgers host Northern Illinois at the Kohl Center this Friday night. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Time now for Billy's Parlay of the Day, brought to you by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest.
All right, let's bet above the rest of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet big, bet bold, and bet above the rest. No BS. I like some of these lines right out of the gates on the NFL slate. Now, there's a bunch of college games, very, very fun ones.
Yep.
We mentioned a number of them. Tonight, even USC against Northwestern. Kettle Moraine Zone, David Braun. Going to be a tough deal.
My guy Grant O'Brien on staff down
yeah,
there?
that USC offense is pretty awesome. It is a pretty solid outfit. They lay 14.5 out there in Southern Cal tonight. Memphis Tulane should be a really, really good game. Penn State catching 14.5 against Indiana. I think
Really
the Hoosiers are the best team in the country. Second best team in the country. I've seen Ohio State. But I don't know that I can go there. As much as I love to say the Georgia Bulldogs could be in trouble, catching 9.5 with the Bulldogs of Mississippi State, with them cowbells rolling, our guy Brandon Walker maybe on the sidelines.
That's
Can't
tough.
do it.
That's tough. That feels like a game that could go either way in the spread.
BYU, Texas Tech should be a fun one to watch. The game in Madison should be a fun one. However, we're going to go right to the NFL. We're going to go right to the men's league for the parlay of the day and bet big, bet bold, bet above the rest. I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts to start out. We talked about the Berlin game early.
I like them there, Billy.
As much as I'd like the Falcons to keep this thing close, as much as the Colts maybe showed a little bit of a recipe to getting beat last week, I think a lot of teams are going to get beat when they turn the football over 5 times.
Yeah, don't turn the ball over. And the fact is, if they don't do that, they should be fine. So, yeah, 6 points. They can win by a ton. I mean, come on.
Falcons have lost 3 straight, only one inside of they've lost only one game by less than double digits. That was a 24-23 decision against the Patriots last week. Getting blown out by the Dolphins at home, getting beat up by the 49ers as well. Give me the home team. Both teams will be on the road in Berlin. The new Sauce Gardner-led Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to take Daniel Indiana Jones and the Colts laying 6.
Yeah, I like that a lot, Billy. That's one thing I kind of looked at too as well. It just seems like that's a game that the Colts are right. They should take care of.
Now, the Minnesota Vikings catching 4 against the Ravens is so fascinating.
This is a fascinating deal. The Vikings
Can you tell me who the hell the Baltimore Ravens are to be laying 4 against anybody on the road?
That's a great question. I mean, but they have Lamar Jackson, right?
They do have Lamar Jackson.
That's who they are. A team with Lamar Jackson who won the MVP and all these things, and people assume should be that guy against a team against the Vikings who are an absolute enigma. We know nothing about what the Vikings truly are, Billy, and that's what this is. However, it's in Minnesota at US Bank. Do you like the Vikings as a home dog here?
Well, I'll tell you, I generally do. Yeah. Outside of what has become one of the strangest phenomenons in the NFL is just how good Lamar's been in his career against NFC teams.
Oh, yeah.
He's 24-5 or 24-3 as a starter, 24-5 overall. Yeah, I'm gonna stay away. I really wanted to go with the Baltimore Ravens, but I love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even going up against one of my favorite guys right now in the NFL, mine and a lot, not a strange one to enjoy. Watching Drake May play football right now. He's an electric factory. He goes on the road to Tampa. Now they just narrowly escaped against the Atlanta Falcons. Baker Mayfield and company rested, rejuvenated. Give me the Buccaneers laying 2.5 at home against the Pats.
All right, Billy, I like that a lot. I think they will win by a field goal. Absolutely. Maybe the clock strikes midnight a bit for the Patriots is on their little run here.
And as we round third and head for home on the third leg of the parlay of the day, I'll tell you what's really screaming at me, Armen. And maybe it's just because I watched them last week.
I'm going to guess what you're going to say here, but I don't know.
I kind of want to take the Panthers laying the 5.5 against the Saints.
The
Saints might be the biggest Cheeks team I've ever seen.
That ain't a wild take at all. However, the Panthers do a lot of ground game stuff, and I don't know that they did that against us. I should say
divisional game. It could be kept close
at Carolina.
I like the Panthers. I like them laying the 5.5. I know it's a little bit more than I usually would lay with a team that you don't know a ton about, but I think the Panthers are better than we all gave them credit for last week. I think they're miles better than the Saints. I think the Saints are one of the worst teams in football. And I like plus 582 at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet big, bet bold, bet above the rest. We're going favorites here this weekend. Colts laying 6, Panthers minus 5.5, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus 2.5. Those all in the early windows on Sunday. So then if we're wrong, you can go right to the Potawatomi Sportsbook into the 3 o'clock hour and help yourself out with the Cardinals and Seahawks. Lions at Commanders. Commanders getting some good news within the last hour. Apparently, David Chow was right. He had reported and put out on his social media that it was not a career-ending injury or threatening injury for Jaden Daniels.
Really out on a limb there.
Non-throwing elbow, non-career threatening.
Wow.
It also might not be season-ending. They're not going to put him on IR as of now. Apparently, no structural damage, even though the dislocated elbow is one of the grossest injuries we've seen all football season.
Look bad.
Yeah.
Unless your bone's popping out of your leg, it's probably number 1.
Turns out it right now is not as bad as it indicated or looked on television.
It looked bad, but sometimes
no surgery needed, no structural damage at this point.
Imagine seeing that happen to your body and saying we don't need to do surgery. It reminded me a lot of the Gordon Hayward ankle injury on opening night. That one night. it's like looks terrible, but actually we're like, yeah, it's not that bad. We're gonna fly him home to New England Baptist Hospital and get it taken care
Crack
of.
it back in.
Yeah.
One screw in, it'll be all good.
Couple games I know nothing about, by the way, Billy, in my opinion. Cardinals at Seahawks. I had no idea what's gonna happen. Rams at Niners. NFC West is wild. You got me messed up. I'm not trying to figure any of those games out. I'm gonna sit back and watch. But I'm not gonna try to figure them out.
No, but I do know Rams and 49ers is going to be a great game.
Great game.
Because I think
Always
they
is.
only play good games. Like those two teams only play close, tight games.
And that's a rivalry, San Francisco, LA. So,
and whoever's playing a quarterback for the 49ers has been getting it done, whether it's Mac Jones or one Brock Purdy. All right, we got it done this week. Phenomenal job, fellas.
Great
work
boys.
as we ran through the tape this week on No BS. We'll be back coming up on Tuesday, skating at full strength. Luddy will be back with Tim Allen coming up on Monday morning as we get ready for Packers and Eagles in Lambeau Field at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. It'll be a phenomenal time. We'll be there for Packers OT, so we'll be back with you on No BS on Tuesday. Enjoy